There we are. Let me hit the mute button off. If that doesn't sum up the year 2020, I don't know what does. Well, you're on mute, dude. You're on mute. Happy New Year to everybody. This year we are, well, this past year, I think it goes without saying that it was a crazy year. And I think it would be great to get the new year started by doing something positive. So that's what we decided to do to get this episode started, ending 2020 and starting off 2021 by looking back at the year and trying to tap a little bit into that power of positive thinking. If that's a thing, I don't think it's a thing, but it's not a bad thing. We're going to look at the positive. We're going to look back at 2020. It wasn't all bad. It definitely sucked, but it wasn't all bad. And so we're going to be taking some time on this week's show to reflect on the things that came out in 2020 that we liked, that we were surprised by in a good way, and maybe that we just flat out absolutely loved. That's what we're talking about on the show this week. So if you have anything about this year that happened in your life, or something that came out, or some movie that was released, or music that helped get you through this year, whatever it is, leave a comment, let us know, and maybe it's something that can help brighten someone else's day-to-day too. So let's bring in our panel. We'll start off here first with Bobby. How are you, sir?
Hey everyone, how you doing today?
Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you. Glad
What is
to be
that
alive.
background you got now? Last week it was Star Wars. This week it looks like the Batcave. Is that the Batcave?
It's the Batcave.
That's what I thought it was. Now, what Batcave is that specifically? Is that one of the Arkham games?
It looks like it. I just don't.
I'm guessing it's one of the Arkham games.
I found it on Google when I Googled Batcave Zoom background.
Well, there you go. You can tell, like, your head's kind of blocking the bat symbol there a little bit, but you can definitely tell it's the Batcave.
Yeah, no,
that's awesome, dude.
Try a new, different cave every podcast.
And it's a man cave, so
it's a man cave. So
if there's any cave that fits the criteria of a man cave, it's definitely Bruce Wayne's Batcave.
That's right,
is for sure.
Yeah,
good choice, sir. Christian is also here with us. How are you, sir?
Doing well. How about yourself, gentlemen?
Where's your bat cave? Where's your bat cave?
I don't got a bat cave. I'm in my kitchen / living room.
That's a cave right there.
Yeah.
A man cave can be anywhere a man is if he's declaring it his cave.
There you go.
Until his wife comes in, right?
Right, exactly. Exactly. She's nice enough. She's nice enough to let me have,
or when the kids show up,
2 hours a week.
There you go. That's good. Hey, that's all right.
I will say, how are you just gonna throw Bruce Wayne out there though? Like, you're just gonna throw a secret identity out there? Like, come on, Dan. Be cool, bro.
My bad.
Don't you want to know my secret identity?
To any of Batman,
he hasn't done like the worst job hiding his identity ever.
To any of Batman's villains, we're just joking. It's not Bruce Wayne.
It's not Bruce Wayne. No, it's
not anymore in the comics.
As great as all of Batman's villains are, if it took them that long and they still haven't figured out who Batman actually is at that point, they're not nearly as smart and intelligent as
I mean,
that's for sure.
Like a 14-year-old Tim Drake figured it out. So,
right. So either they all know and they just don't care.
Well, we know for sure that Joker knows and doesn't care. That's canon.
That is for sure. And I think he was actually a little heartbroken to find out who it was, to be honest. But
yeah,
cool. Welcome, sir.
Oh, I gotta ask you, when was that?
We can talk about it later.
You gotta tell me about that offside. I want to read that.
After show chat. There you go.
Yep.
Yeah.
We've also got Alberto. He's shown up fashionably late. How are you, sir?
I'm just early for next week. That's all.
You were just, early for next week.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it. That's what you tell your boss every time, right?
Yes, sir.
I wasn't late today. I'm just early for tomorrow.
That's all.
Come on. That's now I'm gonna have to use that next time. Probably won't go over too well, but I'll keep that one logged away. Good to see you, dude.
Good to see you.
Your week.
Pretty good. It went like a blur. Work has been nothing but absolutely nonstop. So
yeah,
but it's been good.
Fair enough. And then last but not least for this week's show, those of you may have noticed we had a new intro, some music kicking off this show for the live broadcast. If you've been listening on the podcast and stuff, you're familiar with it already. But for the live show, that was brand new music, and it was created by none other than my brother Andrew. And a bunch of his musician friends.
The band is called Electric Yarn.
Electric Yarn.
They needed a drummer. Yeah.
And you were that drummer. I will say this for any really, really crappy, sucky, offbeat, double whatever production-y side of that track that may have been there. It was probably because of me trying to edit to the loop of that one like 10 like 15 seconds over.
Yeah, that was just
over
supposed to be a quick intro to a podcast.
Right.
Yeah.
And I turned it into like a 5-minute long countdown, and I didn't spend nearly as much time detailing every single one of those little loops over.
Nobody knows other than you and me, and
other than you and me and other people who do it for a living. Alberto probably knew, but he was late, so he didn't hear it.
Bobby's just gonna hang his mic right in front.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Trade secrets, man. Trade secrets.
He's throwing Bruce Wayne out there. He's throwing your music out. Like he's just throwing all secrets out today.
That's exactly right. A little peek behind the curtain, right? That's I
love that the microphone starts disappearing.
Oh yeah,
it gets to the background starts to eat it up a little bit.
It starts to fade in and everything.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
That's how powerful the Batcave is.
That's exactly right. It just absorbs everything. So 2020, gentlemen.
It was a year.
Yeah, it was.
It was a year on the Gregorian calendar. That is very true.
It did exist.
It did exist.
The best thing I can say about it.
Yeah. But it wasn't all bad.
No. The
Right?
year itself, not great, but things that happened. There were some good things.
I saved money on my
There were
car
some good
insurance by
things.
switching to Geico.
Hashtag not an ad. But if you want to be an ad, Geico, hit us up.
Call
maybe
us.
not.
Yeah. Shoot us an email.
Not an ad, but it could be.
Not one, but it could be. Yeah, it wasn't all terrible.
No.
But because the year was so awful, I think it's fair to say that everybody had their own coping mechanisms that they dove into or they utilized. And this kind of goes into the first question and the first thing that we're going to talk about, but I'll save that. Other than the first category, which is music. Was there anything else this year you guys found yourselves getting sucked into, getting invested in over the last year, other than like music and stuff that we're going to be talking about?
Yes,
what was
sir.
it this past year that you used to help cope and get through the craziness of 2020? Alberto had something for sure. What was it?
Immediately, I was just talking about this with my cousin. I think like not even 2 days ago. We're talking about just stuff that that we just started getting into. I work from home, which means I'm working 40 hours in front of the computer. Sitting down and having to be in front of a monitor for so long, it just makes me want to like get up and start moving and whatnot. So if there's two things for sure that one that I realized I definitely took for granted, but then one that I started diving more into to de-stress. The thing I took for granted was the ability to be able to take a walk outside whenever I wanted to, and just having just all those steps during the day.
So were you getting pretty active when everybody was like,
yes,
I can't stay at home, I got to get out and I got to walk around, I got to do something?
Yeah, my past job. So in 2019, I worked at my university. So it was nice because I got to walk campus or, across the campus, building to building. So that was nice.
Yeah.
But
getting those steps in, right?
Once 2020 hit, like I just started going on walks around the whole neighborhood as many times as I can. Pokemon Go throughout the whole walk. I'm like, let me just feel the fresh air.
Go.
Let me just get something.
Pokemon Go probably had like a resurgence this past year with a lot of people because that thing fell off the map for a while.
It had more downloads this year than it had any other year of its existence.
Did it really? I believe that.
But I think if anything, like for sure, the thing that to kind of answer Dan's like actual question about stuff that finding yourself diving into. I started getting too busy to be able to read like graphic novels and manga, and since being, having to work from home and being in front of the screen so much, what used to be my relaxation, being in front of the screen, now I'm like, okay, I need to find something away from it, and it was diving a whole lot more into music composition stuff and being able to dive into graphic novels and manga, and primarily those, because I finally got the chance to just start catching up on series I've been wanting to catch up on, series I've been wanting to try out. And
what like graphic novel or like manga series grabbed your attention the most
this
year? Yeah, that's not one of the questions we're diving into later, so I'm just curious.
For me, was this,
'cause I could use some good reading material myself that is a little more less intense.
for me, I think manga wise was a Gangsta. It's manga that's been written probably like a few years back, but it's a kind of like a crime. It's like a crime yakuza type of like manga.
Okay.
And there was an anime for it, and it did so well, and I got into it this year finally because my friend suggested it to me. Little do I know, they ended after volume, I think 5, in the middle of volume 5 out of 8. The whole studio went bankrupt in the middle of production. And then the original author has been dealing with terminal illness for the last couple of years.
Dude.
So she's been sporadically making new volumes.
So it's probably
slowly.
never gonna come out to its full conclusion then.
Yes. So
Dude, that sucks.
it's really sad. I finished and I caught up as much as I could with the English publication of it. Apparently it's still being written to this day, but with her health, going worse and worse. I don't know if I'll ever actually get to know the ending, and I'm wishing her, the absolute best, like the author. But that one is the one for sure I got into, and the graphic novel series was Miss Marvel, mainly because I'm really excited for the show.
Cool.
Miss Marvel
Miss Marvel.
with Kamala.
Not Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel.
Correct. Yes.
There is a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew, what about you, man? What was like a coping thing that you dealt with this last year that helped you get through the year, or a hobby or something that like snuck up and was like, hey, this is becoming a new thing for me this year and probably wouldn't have happened without it. Yeah.
Well, in high school, I did wheel throw ceramics.
Okay.
Like on a pottery wheel. And I had always wanted to get back into it. And it actually today was a year ago today that I got my pottery wheel.
Today?
Yeah.
A year ago today?
Was a year
Nice.
ago.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So
You probably knew that because it popped up on what?
yeah,
like
it popped up on my
and stuff?
Facebook. Yeah.
Dude, that thing is amazing, and sometimes it'll also just
Yeah. Sometimes it's
destroy
like,
you.
oh,
You're like,
10 years ago, I did not want to see that picture.
I don't want to know that memory. Why are you hanging on to that? I don't want to know that.
Yeah. So yeah, it was actually really cool to just like really dive into that. And then I bought a kiln and was able to like learn how to operate my own kiln, because in the past it was always just operated from the teacher.
Right.
So it's kind of like exciting, but at the same time sad that like it's such a social thing doing pottery, and the fact that like COVID happened and I was just getting into it, and so it's like you kind of want to like go visit other people's studios, meet other artists, learn from them, and like a lot of that's limited.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But still, like I was able to make, it's definitely not like a full-time thing for me. It's just more of an art fun thing.
Right. Like you do it on your own time when you have the time.
Right. It's one of those things for me. But I mean, I was able to get 3 kiln loads in, which each kiln
That's a lot.
does like 30 pieces. So throughout a year, I made like 90 pieces or something like that.
Wow.
So
there you go.
And they're all gone. Like they're all sold except for like 4 of them that I wanted to keep. So
That's awesome.
people like really latched onto it, really liked what I had to make.
Cool.
And
So were you selling them on like Etsy or something, or where were you doing
that's
that?
the thing. Like I have an Etsy, but I would like put it up on Facebook, and everyone would snatch them up before I uploaded them to Etsy. So
Nice. There you go.
it's like there's definitely like draw for it, and people are interested. It's just how much time do I have to be able to like commit to making
Supply
it
and
happen.
demand.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Christian,
So-
what about you, man? This last year, what ended up becoming like was there anything new or anything that you gravitated towards to get through the year?
Not really anything new necessarily. Just was able to kind of reconnect with some online buddies of mine. You know, 2019 didn't really have a ton of as much time for gaming and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And when I did, it was more just like there was single player stuff I wanted to get through, and I didn't really want to dedicate the time to playing online or anything like that. So kind of like fell out of contact with some friends. And then so this year, during like the initial wave of lockdown, when the only thing I had to do was play video games and sit in front of the TV, I was able to reconnect with some of those buddies that I hadn't talked to in a while, and
That's
kind
awesome.
of build back up those connections. So that was nice. That definitely helped kind of fill that gap of lack of social interaction.
Yeah. Yep, for sure. Bobby, what about you, sir?
My buddy and I did a big bike ride starting at Two Brothers Roundhouse in Aurora. And then we went all the way out to, oh my gosh, where am I? Out to the Riverboat Casino and then circled back on the Prairie Path. And we wanted to do that for the past year and a half. So we were doing the whole route in pieces this summer. And then right before the start of fall, when it was starting to get cold, we did the whole thing. And Two Brothers was outside and we was still there. They had outside service. They had a school rock band playing outside. So we got to enjoy that. So that's how I kind of dealt with the pandemic, is working towards a 50 mile bike ride and finding a new route.
Wow.
Cool.
Nice.
That's awesome.
About how long did that take you, out of curiosity? Like the one full leg?
The one full leg. So we started early. We started at like 7:00, and I think we finished right at 11.
Wow.
And that's with like stopping and snacking, pictures, because it was like our big. And we've both done Century bike rides in the past, but we haven't done them in a while, and we never did the full route. We've never done the full route, and we haven't done Centuries in a while, so we're just kind of like taking it easy, having fun, and we were just taking our time in. Plus, it's not like
we're trying to race
dedicated road cycling, and so.
Right.
Cool. Cool. Very cool.
And if Two Brothers wants to sponsor us, another great beer, a local great Aurora beer.
Hey, there we go. Christian, for me, I would say this show and the just actually putting my man cave together.
Yeah, the room that you're in right now.
Your net.
Right. Like my this room, it like behind me, for those of you that can't see it, it's filled with nerdy crap, arcade cabinets and all kinds of stuff. I was not into really any of this stuff, even remotely, when it came to like building arcades and programming Raspberry Pis and like all of this sort of stuff. I ended up getting the Ninja Turtles Arcade 1-Up cabinet for my birthday in October of 2019. And that was a little bug that stuck with me. And once 2020 rolled around and COVID hit, and I was still working my job, like I was still involved in being an essential worker and all of that. And I've got all this stuff and all this free time, and I could work from home, and like I needed something to stay busy to do here at the house. And luckily Amazon and eBay and the post office was still working. So yeah, I basically dumped into building arcade cabinets and making retro tables with the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Yeah, I know your table was the big project for you this summer.
The corniest, silliest stuff that I'm like, I'm okay. I got to stay busy. I'm going to be productive. And it was, in my mind, it was like, okay, I did the whole like sit down and play a bunch of video games, and I did that, but I wasn't able to stick with that very much because the schedule of me playing with my friends and stuff just wasn't working. And I just was tired of playing video games by myself. So I was like, okay, let's find something else to do. If it's just me and just some me time, I want to find something that I have to show for it other than a gamer score, which no ripping on anybody who's got a kick-ass gamer score at you, like no big deal. But yeah, all those kind of weird man cave projects is definitely my.
Have you ever told the story on here about getting the $1 Space Invaders cab that I also was able to get?
No, I have not. That is a crazy story. I saw. Okay, so
it's behind you, right?
Yeah, it's behind it. It's right there, right there. And Space Invaders, vertical arcade cabinet. So Arcade 1-Up, they're selling all these weird cabinets at like Walmart and stuff, and they're usually about $300.
And they're like not like full size, right?
No, they're like 3/4 size, so they're not full size.
They're easy to move.
They're super light, easy to move around, and pretty cheap as far as arcade cabinets go because they were selling them for $300 when most of them are like, $1,000 or more if you want to get an arcade cabinet. So I saw online that you can order a cabinet from Walmart.com to have it picked up at the store. They did not have any of these in stock at the time. And I realized that the in-store price for my local Walmart, it was $1 if you rang it up in the store. I was like, okay, I'm going to try something. I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to try something. So I ordered it online, had it shipped to the store for me to pick up. And I ordered it online really because that's the only way I could get it. And
you paid full price for it.
I paid whatever the price was online, but I wanted to pay cash. I mean, if it's going to be $1, I'm going to pay cash. So I walk in and I tell the guy, hey, so I used my credit card to get it shipped here, but I actually wanted to pay for it with cash. Can I do that? He's like, yeah, sure. We just cancel the order and then you just go get in line and check out. So I do that, and I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen, if it's going to be $1, if it's going to be the regular full price, whatever, we'll find out. I go into self-checkout, bing, $1. And I take a $1 bill and like stick it in the machine and then walk out of Walmart with my arcade cabinet. I was like, I don't know how this happened. And I immediately texted Andrew a picture and was like, dude, you have to try this.
I tried it.
You could cancel it if you don't want it, and they'll just do whatever they have to with it, but you have to try it.
I tried it, and the first time it didn't work because the manager like caught it or whatever and was like, no, it's not $1, like blah, blah, blah.
Well, you ring it up and it's $1.
But you ring up and it's $1. Oh. But they're like, oh, but we can't return it and then sell it to you in store because of some inventory thing. So I order it again at another Walmart, like 5 miles away, and I swear it was the same.
The next day,
I swear it was the same cabinet because these cabinets like took a week usually to get in, and it was there next day. So I'm like, this has to be the same one.
Yeah, just drove it down the street.
Yeah, and I talked. It was like a good hour and a half conversation with the manager, and the guy was like, you know what? I don't want to deal with returning this thing. If it rings up for $1, you can have it. And so I rang it up, and the guy was like, I can't believe we're doing this right now. And I give him $1 and walk out.
That's amazing.
And you also did the same thing with your Star Wars for $50.
My Star Wars cabinet, it wasn't $1, it was $50. Yeah. So when you're looking at all the crazy stuff behind you and thinking, dude, that guy's loaded. Look at all that crap. No, I'm not loaded. I don't have a ton of money. I just am real big on finding the deals.
It's a birthday present, $1.
Striking when the iron is right.
And then the Mortal Kombat one.
And then sold his goal for the other one.
Right, exactly. I may or may not have to give up Lily when she reaches the age of 18. And no, I'm kidding. That I wouldn't sell my daughter. not for an arcade cabinet. No.
But
Clearly,
there's something.
clearly
For,
she's
for
worth
6
more than
arcade
that.
cabinets, maybe.
Yeah, right. Definitely not. Anyways, so moving on, that was a story I was not expecting to tell, but
That's funny.
thank you for that, Andrew.
Yeah.
Moving on to our recap. Officially here, we've got. Let me do the presenter mode because why not? Man Cave Mondays 2020 recap, and the very, very first category: what song or album got you through the year 2020? So, who would like to go first on this one?
Well, I think that it's in order, isn't it?
Is it
Yeah,
in
just
order?
Go to the slide. Yeah, just go to the
Just
slide, and whoever
go
hits
through
it
the
up.
slides.
Yeah.
All right, there we are. Oh, I get to go first. I never get to go first. This is awesome. This is kind of a weird one for me to have up there because if you knew me in high school, you knew me through college, and you knew me up until like 3 years ago, I absolutely despise rap music. I don't like rap music at all. The phrase "you can't spell crap without rap" was coming out of my mouth anytime the topic came up, right? So this is a really weird choice. But NF, dude, is fantastic. And I don't have a particular album or a particular song because just everything, all of his music. I consumed his music over and over and over and over the last 2 years, for so many reasons, and it has helped and has been very therapeutic for me. I feel like there's a lot that goes on inside his head that I found myself relating to way more than I thought I ever would with a rap artist. So that's mine. Christian.
What is it? Did you say it? Because just for the people listening to the podcast.
Yeah, NF. That's what
Okay,
I
sorry.
said. The artist NF. All of his music. NF. It's just 2 letters.
Wait, that's not.
F.
Oh, I thought that was Eminem. Oops.
Nope. This is NF. It's right there. I just took a screenshot
I thought that was
of
the
his
name.
like
I
Spotify
thought that was the
page.
name of like the album.
No,
I'm not a
Nope.
big.
The artist is called
NF.
NF.
Yeah.
And he's got a ton of music. There's Mansion, there's Therapy Session, there's The Search, which is the new one that just came. Like tons of stuff. And I would highly recommend watching the music videos, listening to it. Even if you don't like rap music, like me, not a fan of rap music, this dude is amazing and really gifted. And yeah, his music was super therapeutic. So NF.
Nice.
Look him up on Spotify. Okay, Christian, your turn.
For me, it was the Hamilton soundtrack. Now, before I met my wife a handful of years ago, we're looking at like 6 years ago now, I was not a musical guy, was not into that even remotely. And she definitely opened up my eyes to that whole world, and I have since become a connoisseur of that realm, and the Hamilton musical just hit me like a brick wall. And
All right.
I listened to that all the time. It was watched
So
it on
what-
Disney Plus a
so
handful
what
of
is
times, and then
What is it about the Hamilton? Like, so here's the deal. I'm
it's just catchy. It's,
full disclosure. I still have not seen Hamilton. I know it's on Disney Plus. I know. I still have not listened to the whole soundtrack. I know. Andrew's like, what is wrong with you? Christian's like, boo.
Man,
You guys are. I know.
My wife and I fell asleep.
have you
Oh,
even
you guys
fell
listened
asleep
to
watching
it?
All righty.
Yeah, we fell asleep.
Have
I
you
mean, it
listened
is
to it?
long.
No, it's not that it was bad. Look, I enjoyed it. I'm listening to. I've turned it on for my son. He started dancing to the soundtrack of Hamilton. I think it's catchy. I like it.
Mhm.
It's just we haven't. I want to watch it with my wife, and we just haven't. Yeah, we just haven't. But
I know.
I've picked it up.
But-
I listened to the Weird Al version of Hamilton.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my
Love
gosh.
it.
So
Yeah.
good.
So
Have you heard
with-
with Sandlerton? It's a guy
What?
It's not Adam Sandler, but it's a guy who, in the voice of Adam Sandler, does the entire album.
It's amazing.
That's
It's an Adam Sandler.
And it sounds like Adam Sandler.
Oh, yeah.
I would be very interested in.
Yeah,
listening
it's
to
like
that.
you're listening to like 8 Crazy Nights Hamilton edition.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I have to hear that now.
But yeah,
Here's the deal. Yeah, I haven't been familiarized with Hamilton enough to formulate an opinion about it, but I have already formulated an opinion about it. That it is extremely overrated and the worst thing to hit. No, I'm kidding.
Wow.
I hear it's amazing.
You hate your
rap,
expectations.
I hear it's amazing, and I'm definitely going to give it a shot.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And I'm sure I'll like it. I'm sure I will.
Yeah,
probably.
it's fantastic. I loved it, and I listened to it probably more times than was reasonable. But
Cool. Alberto,
Yes, sir.
your album that got you through the year. I could see you. It doesn't surprise me.
Have you heard it, or have you heard of them? I don't know if you ever heard of
I
them.
know. Well, announce who they are for the people on the podcast.
Oh, yeah, true.
I'm giving you the opportunity to introduce your choice. I don't want to steal that thunder.
So the album that got me through 2020, I went back and forth a lot because there were certain songs I definitely revisited a lot that were from like 2019 and even old classics. But the album I listened to the most was definitely the Strokes' new album. Not only is the Strokes one of my favorite bands, but they were really the band that got me into everything that I'm really into today. I remember being in middle school listening to their albums when I was younger, and I remember watching the music video for Reptilia, and half the band had on Chucks, like really beaten up Chucks, and I've never worn Chucks ever, and I was like, I want a pair so bad now. I just want to do that. I want to pick up a guitar. I want to learn how to be cool like those guys. And they went on a huge hiatus, and they haven't released any new album for like half a decade. And their last album was only made because of their contract that they had with the RCA.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah, the Come Down Machine was just made because of a contract, and it felt very soulless. You can tell that they were just doing their obligation from the business side. And this one, after years of them doing their own solo work and material, and then jumping back into the studio as a band, it was easily the most interesting album. The guitarists, both of them, used a lot of different guitar effects, a lot of modulation effects. Julian, the vocalist, started experimenting a lot more with different vocal ranges. It wasn't just indie rock growl the whole time anymore. He was finally doing falsettos. The lyrics, there are certain lyrics that just got me right in the chest sometimes. Some of them are really just tongue-in-cheek, and some of them are a little bit more poetic. But long story short, from the production side, the composition side, the hooks, everything else in between, it was easily my most anticipated album, the most listened to album. And weird flex, but you know how Spotify at the end of the year, they'll tell you what your most favorite artist was on that. Turns out that me and Ari, we were top number 1% in the world listening to the Strokes in 2020. And then once
the world?
Yeah, turns out.
Really?
Yes.
Ari chimed in on the comments here and pointed out
Not all white rappers are Eminem.
not all white rappers are Eminem. Thank you, Ari. Thank you.
Yeah,
I
some
mean,
of them are okay.
NF has expressed at the beginning that his career he very, very, very much respects Eminem. But yeah, if you're making it in rap and you're a white guy, you're always getting compared to Eminem.
Yes, sir.
I mean, look at that. Look at that picture.
I mean, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, all right.
I get it. But his style is definitely very unique to him right now. And
yeah, he sounds totally different.
Not quite enough.
I loved how Eminem showed up in SNL.
Oh
That
yeah,
one-
it was so
That
good.
was good.
That one. So if anyone has
Like one random, to do the throwback of the.
So they were doing a
Slim Shady,
podcast. They were doing an imitation of Stan at Christmas time, and at the end it was Eminem opening up a present.
You got a PS5.
Yeah,
I was a good guy, man.
that was good. Yeah, that was entertaining.
Alberto, was this an album that came out in 2020?
Yeah, it came out in
That one came out in 2020, right? Yeah.
So oddly enough, it came out as soon as the pandemic happened. So not only was the titles just so fitting for the time that I didn't know I was gonna get myself into.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole music composition, there's a lot of cool stuff going on with it, and
The New Abnormal.
I need to check that
couldn't be
out.
the most perfect title for
definitely
2020.
check it out. It is the band's first Grammy-nominated album. So
Really?
yes.
So are they, okay, so I'm not real big into all of these guys' music, but are they the ones that have? Am I thinking of these guys, or am I thinking of the White Stripes, the ones that have just the most ridiculously complicated music videos? Who am I thinking
Probably it might be
White
the
Stripes
White
is Jack
Stripes.
White.
Yeah, Jack White and Meg White. So that's a duo, the White Stripes.
No,
Band.
I'm thinking. What I'm thinking of is the ones where they had the big viral one that took off. Was the band was doing something about like being on treadmills or something?
Oh no,
that's okay. Go.
That's okay. Go.
Yeah.
See, I put them all in the kind of. That's unfair of me, I know, but
Not all.
I will have to
bands
check the
are
album out.
tropes, Dan.
I will have to check them out.
Mhm.
Who do we got next? Next
Click to the next slide.
is Andrew.
Okay, I need to
Somebody's
say
stealing some
I
thunder
put
here.
in all of my stuff before Christian put his stuff.
No proof.
Sure,
No proof.
sure you did.
I'll back it up. I saw him put it in because I was fucking putting in.
There's going to be
obviously
other
in-
stuff that it's going to be matching, but Christian and I have just decided that great minds think alike
Yeah.
instead of being each other's enemies.
Yeah.
Apparently,
Yeah.
Man, okay.
that explains a lot. That explains a lot to me about many a conversation with both of you. I'm just gonna say that.
You know, sometimes when you can just realize that you're both smart and have good opinions, it's easier to get along.
Daniel just needed a brother away from brother is what he needed. Someone that's going to disagree with him, you know.
I got you.
Yeah.
I
needed
will
that.
gladly fill that role while you're away.
In
All right,
space.
so Hamilton, I got into it because Jimmy Fallon had a one of those videos where he had the whole entire cast on. Oh no, it wasn't Fallon. It was Krasinski, John Krasinski, with
The some good news.
Some good news, you
Yeah.
know. And
yeah.
yeah. So he had the entire cast on because there was some girl that was a big fan and she wasn't able to go to the show because they had to cancel other shows. So he had like a Zoom call with the entire cast and they did the first opening song. And, you know, Hamilton's been out for a while, like the actual music,
Right.
but that was what was like, why have I not been listening to this? And then, yeah, it was just a total binge. It was just, and it still is. It's like just endless me going through it. Like I'm in a new house now, but we were selling our house, and in the process of selling our house, we're like, okay, well, we need to paint some stuff, and there's no way I would have painted that
Dan, you're
basement.
going to get us copyright strike.
yeah. My voice is gonna get us covered. Good. You flatter me, sir. You flatter me.
But yeah, there's no way that like I would have gotten my basement painted if it wasn't for the Hamilton soundtrack.
There you go. There you go.
Like my wife can attest to how much I was listening to it, and then the fact that it came out on Disney Plus just in time, it was
Oh yeah.
perfect. It was
There you
like, man, there are certain parts that I just cry every time. Like,
Really?
dude,
It's
that
fantastic.
good?
It's fantastic.
It brings
yeah.
you to tears. It's so good.
there are some parts
I'm
like you must not like. There's like a
I
part
just
of
don't have a soul. That's all.
Well, you
Well, we
probably don't
knew
know
that,
what
yeah.
was-
I'm heartless.
There's a couple. There's a
I'm the
couple
guy.
songs
I'm the
in there
guy
that-
who's looking forward. I'm the guy who's looking forward to all of the bad guys' sides of Star Wars stuff that's coming out,
Yeah.
and I like DC over Marvel. So yeah. I am a dark.
There is a couple
heartless,
songs in there,
brooding
Dan, that no matter how many times I hear them,
Yeah.
goosebumps every single time.
Dude, wait for it.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
All right.
Leslie Odom Jr.
every single original
Steals-
cast member is fantastic.
Yes, but but they're all fantastic. But Leslie Odom Jr., who plays Aaron Burr, steals everything. Like, in my opinion, he is just every time he opens his mouth, it's just incredible. And he's got his own Christmas album, which is just like our new family Christmas thing because I'm so done with Kenny G from what we grew up listening.
Oh my God, that was the love you, mom. Love you, mom. Okay, yeah, Kenny G or the whatever the white Christmas.
Michael
soundtrack
Bublé was a big one too.
Michael Bublé, yeah.
But yeah, anyway, Leslie Odom, huge fan of his. He's got like new stuff that he's doing with like a movie with Sia that I'm really excited. Like Sia's directing it, and he's a star in it. So yeah, just Hamilton all in general. Lin-Manuel Miranda, the director, writer, all of that stuff. Like I just deep dived, man. Like I watched the original first time that he was at the White House, and he like chose to release for the first time ever his material at the White House in front of the Obamas. It's like no one else.
That's when he was talking. He it wasn't big yet, and they were just kind of like.
That was when they were just like demoing it. Basically,
a couple people knew about it, but it was the first time that he ever performed it like for real live. And it's like, okay, if you're gonna test it, I guess you're gonna test it in front of the president of the United States. Like it was.
I mean, it's a musical where you're swapping out all the main characters with an African American cast for the president politics,
founding fathers,
and the first African American president. That is the perfect fit. I love it.
It really
is. It makes tons of sense.
And the fact that like it wasn't just African American, but all
people of color.
True. That's. I mean, I haven't seen it, so
and all the white people were like King George, and all of the different. It's just brilliant, man. I could talk about it for the rest of this time.
I'm sure you probably could. Bobby's turn.
Sorry, Andrew. One of my favorite things that got me through is just the band Foo Fighters.
All right.
And I was very happy to hear their first new song released when they went live on SNL. I remember listening to their
CD. Where they debuted it?
That's where they debuted their.
I didn't realize it was on SNL.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. They debuted it, Shame on SNL. The full album goes live on 2021, but they've already released 2 singles from the Medicine at Midnight album. But Foo Fighters gets me through just a lot my life in general. I told you guys on this podcast that my dad passed away on March 17th in 2020. And at that time, I was singing my son to sleep, and I would always sing to him My Hero from Foo Fighters. And I would start breaking down crying mid-song because my dad was my hero. I mean, he had his faults and everything, but
who doesn't?
Right.
But he was the hardest worker I ever met, and he loved his family so much. But yeah, I mean, but Foo Fighters just not, and it's just dad rock now.
Right.
And,
right. Oh yeah. Foo Fighters is like,
it's dad rock.
Total dad rock now.
It's now dad rock. And it's like, okay, this is I was a teenager when the first album came out. I was a teenager when Dave Grohl was the drummer for Nirvana. It's dad rock. This is my jam. And almost all their songs are on my running playlist.
Cool. Yeah. Cool. Next one. This category was kind of, I think, a little hard to interpret. Hopefully we answered them right. Favorite stream. And by this, are we talking podcasts? Are we talking
whatever you could stream? Like what would you like to stream off of?
Stream
media. What was the favorite thing you found off of streaming? Because
the way I interpreted it was traditional media, like not necessarily a TV show, not a movie, something you'd stream on like a streaming service, or
whether it's
exactly.
a podcast or a YouTube channel or something.
Or something you found on a stream, something you found on Netflix. But so.
Yep. Cool. All right. Andrew, you get to go first on this one.
Yeah. So I think I probably found out about him in 2019, but 2020 was a big part of me like following him. It's a guy named Sean, and he has a thing called Spawn Wave Media. And he just is only focused on video games. That's it. the entire thing. And so
All right.
it's like really well done, high quality. But it's totally like, you can tell it's like out of his basement with a green screen kind of a thing. But he just Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. releases a video, and it's like 20 minutes, and it's called Newswave, and it's just 20 minutes of what happened in the world of gaming.
All right.
And it's really like, he always touches on the important stuff that needs to be covered. And it's like my commute to work, it's listened to literally so many times. Like, I'm pulling into work and he's finishing the last part of the video. Like, it is
the
just
perfect timing.
yeah, it's just the perfect time for like, okay, my commute, I'm going to listen to what has happened in the gaming world. And that Spawn Wave has been a huge way of me like being able to keep connected to the gaming world. And then on Saturdays he does a live thing called Spawncast, which is basically what we're doing with like all the big people in the gaming world. Scott the Woz, him, RGT85, you know, whoever he can get on there, he knows all of those guys. So
cool.
But
My favorite from the Spawn Wave stuff, I've never had the courage to take apart my consoles, but I've always liked that he takes them apart, shows the compartments. Every console he just takes it apart, and when it comes
I'm
to
so scared every time watching it. Yeah.
And whether he is just doing like a cleaning video, a maintenance video, or a modding video, it's just cool to see it, because honestly, I have like at home, I got like 3 Game Boy Advances. I've never taken one apart.
Yeah.
And I'm too nervous to take one apart. But
Berto.
that's just me. But this channel though, it kind of scratches that itch, and I love his reviews. I love his stuff.
He's a very big tech head. He used to like run a video game store.
Okay.
So he knows all about, like, he's got stories of like getting PS3s brought to him that they like want to sell to him, and he opens it up and it's full of cockroaches. Like, just like
Dan, this is definitely a channel I think Dan would definitely appreciate.
You would like
Sounds
it
like
a lot.
Yeah.
If he's
you would love
doing a
this
lot
channel.
of like hands-on, practical, taking it apart, fixing it, refurbing
He does all
it,
that.
sort of stuff.
Mhm.
I could really dig that, because I got real heavy into that this year.
So
when you're saying I've never cracked open a Game Boy Advance, I only had one, and like the original, and I cracked it open so that I could put
the new screen on it,
color backlit LED screen on it, because I just was sick and tired of squinting and having to angle my thing just to be able to see the friggin' picture. I'm like,
you would like
I'm not going to do this. And if I was going to drop,
You have to wait for the light as you're in the car.
Right.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. So we're having retro chat right now, which maybe is something that's a little preview for what we'll be doing later, and in the next episode maybe. But dude, like when the Game Boy Advance, the original Game Boy Advance came out, that feel was like perfect.
It is
It was
great.
wider. It had the headphone jack port. It had the bumpers right there. The whole deal for a grown person that wasn't like 6 years old. It fit in your hand a lot better than the SPs did, which were not even really very well lit. I mean, the first model anyway was like front lit. And then finally they brought the backlit model, which was ridiculous, because now you have to drop like $150 if you find one of them.
I know.
So I saw an original Game Boy Advance. It was at Goodwill. It was like, kid you not, $7.99. Didn't even know if it worked. I bought it. It worked, and just got sick and tired of it. Was like, screw this, for $7, whatever. If I break it, I break it. But I'm going to drop $30 and try and upgrade this thing. And cracked it open, followed a YouTube video, and now it's working. So if you want to upgrade your screen, Alberto, give me a holler. I'll help you out. It was the easiest mod ever. I was shocked at how easy it was. So
yeah,
it was really easy. So that's cool, Andrew. I did not know about this guy's show.
Yeah, I think you would like him a lot. He's just dude, it's like clockwork. Every day, 8 p.m. or 8 a.m. Like
AM.
It's posted every time. So
all right. Cool. I think a lot. Oh, am I gone? Are we sticking around?
No,
here?
you're still there. You're still there.
I had a refresh. Okay. You picked one that I think a lot of us probably did.
Oh, Dan,
We're losing Dan.
we're losing Dan, so we'll wait for him to come back. Everyone, hopefully, we're still recording.
Cried during. Yeah, we're still recording.
Yep.
Are you there?
We're still recording. Okay,
Okay.
so
Yeah,
What were
we're
you
good.
saying, Daniel?
I was
Well-
going to say you picked one that I think a lot of us probably cried during too. It wasn't Hamilton. It was.
oh,
What did you pick?
I picked the 10-part documentary, The Last Dance, which
Excellent.
followed the
Excellent choice.
dynasty of Michael Jordan's last season of the Chicago Bulls and their 6th championship one. And it went back and forth between him being recruited as a rookie and all of their championships and all the highs and lows of Michael Jordan. So
I still
Really
need to go
good.
back and watch this. I've still never
It
watched it.
was-
Yeah,
I
Christian.
haven't seen
So
it.
So good.
What
it
do you
is-
watch?
As someone who grew up through the 90s and the era of
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan and the Bulls and like that dynasty, dude,
And
it's so good to be able to go back and relive a lot of those amazing moments and to get some behind the scenes stuff that shed a little bit more light on it. And it's really cool.
I
Really
think what I loved most about it was seeing Michael Jordan because I saw Michael Jordan as a kid as the hero, this untouchable person,
Yeah.
and granted, all the gambling and stuff over the years kind of tarnished his image, but he was always still this hero, and I never really understood it. And I watched this, and it's like, yes, Michael Jordan was not the nicest guy in the world. He was competitive, and
Mhm.
that's what made him one of the best athletes ever, because he was competitive and he just kept upping up his game. And when something didn't work, he hired someone to help train him and got better. And if someone beat him, if you're a fan of basketball, if you're a fan of the 90s, watch this. I was not a fan of I'm not a big basketball guy, but watching this, it was just nostalgia all the way and made me feel like a basketball fan watching this movie.
Yeah,
Watching this 10-part documentary, which is streaming on Netflix, which debuted on ESPN.
Mm.
Very cool. Next, shameless self-plug for me.
I'm gonna go get a drink right now.
Yeah, feel free to have a drink. No, there's another podcast that I actually started doing before this one, and I actually took the whole year off because it was stress-inducing. But I'm back, and we're doing it again. And actually, a real plug here. Several of the guests that I have on the show have their own podcasts, and so instead of me just plugging my own podcast, I wanted to put that in there to be able to encourage everybody to check that out, so that you can then find the connections of all of the podcasts and people I'm connected with through that show. Because I didn't want to make a gigantic list, and I didn't want to necessarily pick favorites either. So, Dear Christians podcast, it's something that I'm doing. There's only 8 episodes. So, yeah.
I've listened
Come
to
on, Dan. How dare you? Only 8 episodes.
Only 8 episodes. I know.
I like
But
them
yeah.
though. I like the conversations, and probably like specifically the very first episode. I remember just the first time listening to it. And this is unbiased as well. I mean, like, I didn't even tell you I was listening to it before, but I just remember just like listening to it, and I just always appreciate the conversations. I haven't finished the newest one. I think the guest you said was Joey.
Yeah.
And I'm about halfway through it. I like his perspectives, and it's crazy to know the life that he lived just so recently, and the number of brick walls that hit him, and it's just his story of just coming to where he is now. But yeah,
the whole premise of the show and the podcast is bringing people on who are willing to talk about a little bit more challenging perspectives or challenging or taboo aspects of how Christianity is engaging with culture. So I end up pissing off a lot of people with the topics that I choose or the guests that I have on, but it's not my intent to make people mad, but it's my intent to challenge people and make them think. It's kind of the whole point. And if people don't really like to do that, or they're not open to doing that, sometimes they can get kind of mad. That's not necessarily my purpose behind the show, but
At the end of the day, they're listening.
Happens. That's true, and they're listening.
And that podcast was the first time I ever informally heard of Joe. Actually, I remember Joe was on the
That's true. Joe from this show was actually one of my guests on there. We talked about guns and gun culture. Yeah.
Yeah, so I remember
we didn't get along there either, So
that was the first
one. That's
that
any indication.
That was the first one that came to mind as soon as you said it gets heated. I was like, easily, that was the most heated thing. And but
it was civil at the same time, though.
Yeah, it was
a little bit heated.
It was
not unlike here with Star Wars. To be honest, I think Star Wars gets maybe a little.
I think Star Wars gets you more heated.
Star Wars gets you more heated than Christianity.
What does that say?
We're not going to start talking about Star Wars.
We're not talking about Star Wars.
Christian's like, no, don't mention that. We're not going to go there. What does that say about our friendship? That Star Wars it's more intense and heated than talking about gun culture. Good Lord.
What does that say about you as a nerd?
Me as a nerd and a person. Exactly. I should be ashamed of myself. Really.
Or proud.
That's the whole reason I'm bringing this show up, is just so that everybody can go there and shame me totally.
No, it is a really good podcast. It's been cool to see.
How much did Dan pay you for that, Andrew?
Yeah. Blink twice if you're held captive.
Blink twice if you're being held captive right now, right?
It was just a Glock.
I love you guys. That's great.
Dan just texted you a script and was just like, read this.
Read this real quick. Yeah, here's your plug. So the last episode that I just released last week, we talked about abuse within like theological, spiritual, within like religion, like actual religious focused abuse that can happen. That's a heavy topic, substantially more heavy than any of the stuff we cover here, which gives you an idea of the kind of stuff we cover on that show. But if you're into having those kind of difficult and deep discussions, check it out. So moving on, Christian.
So mine was it's one that I've listened to for a few years now. They've been doing live streams and YouTube videos for about 5-6 years now. I caught on to them about 2018. Critical Role. They are a Dungeons and Dragons podcast.
Nice.
Made up of professional voice actors.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Ashley Johnson, who played Ellie in The Last of Us, was the first person I immediately recognized on it, and I was the first person. I was like, "Oh wait!" I was like, "I recognize her," so that's why I tuned in. And then a million, literally the rest of the crew has probably voice acted in every game you've ever played.
Yeah.
So
is one of the voice actors Amazon's Alexa?
No.
Oh.
But Matt Mercer,
I'm a little disappointed.
He voices McCree in Overwatch, as well as a bunch of other things. They are all very, very well established voice actors.
Yeah,
awesome.
And are they playing Dungeons and Dragons in this?
Yes.
They're actually playing it.
Yeah, so they do a live stream on Twitch every week, and then the videos go up to YouTube.
3 hours long.
So are they
3 to 4 hours a week?
Yeah. We got to do. That's going to be
it.
one of our future episodes, right?
Yeah.
Doing a Dungeons and Dragons.
So are they playing? So they're playing it and live streaming them playing through it as the characters, like they're getting into character, or
so
what?
Yes and no. So they're not dressed up as the characters or anything like that. They're still them, but they are live streaming and playing the games. So they're role playing as their character.
They're getting into the
as all
that's
cool.
That stuff. So that's how I would want to play Dungeons and Dragons.
Shout out to my nephew George. He is a big Dungeons and Dragons guy, and he told me about Critical Role. And he's the kind of guy that, I don't know if you have to catch it every week, but if you want to do anything with him, he's like, nope, I can't hang out. Is it Thursdays, right?
Yeah, Thursdays. Yep.
Yeah, he's like, I can't hang out on Thursdays because I'm watching.
Yeah, it is definitely something that you need to stay up to date on it. You have to watch every week because it is an episodic thing that is a continuous.
Well, that's Dungeons and Dragons. That's what it is. Yeah.
So there is they're in their second campaign total. And so
Crispin, if we were to get a Man Cave Mondays Dungeons and Dragons,
I got you.
spin-off going, would you be our dungeon master?
100%.
I don't have time. I don't have the time or the energy or the willpower, to be honest with you, to be that. I would love it if
I got you. No, I dungeon master for a group of some friends that I have online every.
I've got some stuff at my house, like some D&D stuff that's all designed for helping out the dungeon master.
Oh yeah, I got you. I would gladly set up a campaign for us.
It's really interesting to do that. It's really interesting how Dungeons and Dragons in like the past even 5 years.
Can you do it? Can you do it through this kind of format virtually?
Yeah. So there is a website that I use. The website that I use, I play with some friends digitally. It's called Roll20.
Shut up! No, you don't. Really?
I do. Yeah.
Dude,
and you can.
Why is this not a thing already for us? How is this not a thing already?
We could actually technically still use StreamYard and then just screen share the Roll20 screen up onto the screen.
I think we need to do a spin-off show or like an after party D&D show or something.
Bobby is getting way too excited.
Bobby over here is like a kid in a candy shop. He's like,
I never played Dungeons and Dragons, and I want to play Dungeons and Dragons. No one would ever play Dungeons and Dragons.
Daniel and I weren't allowed to play.
No! Because it's like you're not bringing that demonic crap into our house. That's not happening.
Yeah.
No, siree. So I didn't get into anything close to that until later in life. Right now. No.
Yeah, but all in all, over the last
that's cool, man.
2.5 years of watching the show, I've probably all in all watched anywhere from 500 to 600 hours of their content over the last
very cool
years.
That's cool, man.
Very cool, Alberto.
What is this show?
What is this show?
So I was
Jakey.
So this is a YouTuber.
Picture of a dude in an exercise ball with Red Dead Redemption behind him. I have no idea what's happening in this picture right now.
You don't want to know.
That's the most. That's almost like a caption contest kind of photo. Tell us what you think is happening right now. What is this show? Nakey Jakey. What is this?
Nakey Jakey is.
I was listening.
Definitely doesn't sound like kid friendly or appropriate, but we'll listen.
So Nakey Jakey is a YouTuber. I was stuck between him, Scott the Waz, and Donkey as my top kind of streamers of the year. But so what Nakey Jakey does, he kind of just makes a video about whatever kind of topic he wants to. He's known for very, very mediocre CGI effect stuff, but just being used to his comedic delivery. On top of that, he loves
that's like his charm.
Yeah, so that exercise
can't go any further than that, and so he just finds a way to work with it to comedic effect, kind of a thing.
So basically, his setting is this: he records himself talking, sitting on top of an exercise ball in front of a green screen, and then he might be talking about horror movies or horror games, essentially, and then it will just be him on the exercise ball, in the corner, kind of talking about it at the same time, and just doing he gives some really good perspectives of it. He's very unbiased whenever it comes to story criticism. I specifically chose this thumbnail for a video where he criticizes Rockstar's game design, and he says that the game design in I think the title was called Rockstar's game design is outdated. I think that was the name of the video, and he's primarily talking about Red Dead Redemption 2. He shares his love and his compassion that he has for the game and the series, but then he actually gives a really super in-depth look and being but let's be honest, this game, here's all the shortcomings of it, and it really comes off like it's a game from 2007. They haven't really progressed, but he never complains about a game. He actually gives a really good perspective. But he's very comedic, and one of my favorite things he does have a music little career on the side. He's on Spotify with the same name, and he has a Patreon page, and what he does, all his top Patreon people, or I think the whole Patreon list, every video he ends rapping all the Patreon names in succession with a brand new beat off of an old Casio keyboard. So it's just a really crappy beat or something.
That's
and
so
he just
great.
He's working with the just crappy, low key for the
the
charm.
whole
That's awesome.
DIY feel that you feel during the whole show is great. He covers topics from games to movies. One of my favorite videos he did when he was doing a retrospective look back at Flash games. So some of his favorite games from like miniclip.com. So like, stuff like Happy Wheels, that George W. Bush game where you got to be in the White House on Miniclip and you had to kill like the terrorists and it's like a little cover shooter.
Did I miss that? What game is
That was a huge game.
What?
Yeah, yeah.
Was that game?
Oh
You
yeah.
never played that game? It was on
I've
Miniclip.
never
It was a
heard
random
of
game.
that.
Yeah, it's a random game.
What?
But he talks about that. He
Is it
talks
on
about
Steam or something? Like, where do you find that?
talked about
That sounds
Newgrounds
hilarious.
and stuff.
Alberto, question for you.
Yeah.
Is he like a live streamer? Like, does he play these games or does he just review them?
I wouldn't even call it a review. He just likes to talk about them.
I wouldn't even call it a review.
So he's just
Yeah.
like a variety YouTuber, just like
He's a huge, yeah.
About
He's just
random
huge,
stuff.
huge variety YouTuber. Another video, if you want to check it out, is horror in video games. And right off the bat, he mentions he's like, I specifically titled it horror in video games and not horror video games because I think there's a lot of scary elements that can be found in games that are not
Man, I
specifically
can't wait to
horror.
start listening
That-
to this guy.
yeah, I'm gonna have to
That
check this out.
sounds absolutely like the most perfect conversation.
If it's
that I would
anything
love
like-
to-
Yeah.
So it's comedic, it's serious, it's,
That's
it's
hilarious.
analytical.
Like Scott the
Nakey
Waz.
Jakey. All right. Gotta
Yeah,
check
check
that
him
out. Nakey
Is
Jakey.
it anything like Scott the Waz? Because I think Scott the Waz is hilarious.
I think okay, so Scott the Wise I think is more witty, but that's not to say that Nakey Jakey's style is definitely
How do
very
you come up with
DIY
a name
like
like
too.
that?
Scott
I-
the Waz? Or
No,
Scott the Waz or Nakey Jakey?
because
I'm
both of them
sure-
are kind of
no. There's probably a story behind it that involves him at college, and he doesn't remember it. But from that night on,
That's
he
fair.
was called Nakey Jakey.
That's fair.
Probably something along those lines.
That's fair.
And he's making money off it now.
You
Like,
know what?
good for
I
him,
respect
you know?
that.
Totally respect
That's
that.
awesome.
What do we got? What do we got
Next category we got here is
Ooh.
biggest good surprise of 2020.
Yes.
Good surprise. There were a ton of crappy surprises, but good surprises.
Ooh,
Oh, I saw it. Oh.
I was going to mention that one.
Berto, you
So-
get to start this one off.
So I'll start this slide with my personal Snyder cut. It is Scott Pilgrim. I know I've talked about it before, and
Scott
we've talked about
Pilgrim
it.
versus the World, the game,
The
the,
re-release.
the re-release.
Yes, sir. With all the DLC. As I mentioned
Explain
before,
for those who are not familiar with this, what the story is behind this thing going away, its original inception, what it's connected to, and why it's a big deal.
so
'Cause I don't know that there's a ton of people who are sure why you're so freaking out about this, but it's rightfully so. Rightfully so.
yes, sir. Scott Pilgrim versus the World of the Game. So it is based off of the movie that is based off of the comic. And it was a comic series originally created by Brian O'Malley. A really good, popular kind of like young adults, indie kind of like comic book writer. And they ended up making a movie in I think 2010 starring Michael Cera and the whole
Good movie. I did
That was
finally
only,
see
that
it.
was only 10 years ago.
Yeah, and this
That
game
was a good
is
movie.
this
Such a good
game
movie.
takes
It's a very good
inspiration. This game takes inspiration from the movie, but it also definitely, of course, takes a huge inspiration from the actual comic book series.
Was
Considering
this game on the DS?
this game was
No,
only
it's like
digitally
PS3,
on
Xbox
Only
360.
released digitally.
Yes, only released digitally. And I mentioned before earlier, but I remember going to Walmart and buying a PlayStation gift card. And I was, I think, in high school. It was my second digital game I ever bought. My first one was Bomberman Ultra for the PS3. And then this was the next game that I bought digitally. And my sister and I played it
Yeah.
from the beginning to end. It introduced me really into beat 'em up games. I never liked them before. This game opened it up for me. It opened me up
It's
into
got a very strong beat 'em up, but also a really solid like action RPG
Isn't
component
it a
too.
button
Yeah.
masher?
Total button masher for sure.
Kind of,
You
yeah.
could
I mean, like
absolutely play it, but
It's like a
there's
side
deeper-
scroller, right?
there's-
Like a
yeah,
2D
it's side scrolling beat 'em up.
it's like think of like Streets of Rage, kind of, but it has
got a
just
lot
like
deeper mechanics than just Streets of Rage or something like that. So,
So it's like something you would see in an old arcade machine, but
Yeah.
for modernized.
Kind of like
Right.
a Double Dragon, but
right,
Yeah.
exactly, Bobby. And here's the thing: it was pulled
Mhm.
for rights, like just whatever the legal.
I think
rights
I
or
think the
whatever were.
contract for it or whatever just ended, and they
It ended, and they didn't have the rights, so it got removed from the PlayStation and Xbox store.
Yep.
And Alberto, I'm so glad that you picked this because I had completely forgotten.
I
about
was
it.
gonna pick it, but I'm glad that Alberto.
I have it on the 360. I still have it on the 360. My 360, I will never get rid of because it had this. It also has the Simpsons arcade game and the X-Men arcade game
Mhm.
and the original Ninja Turtles 2 arcade game, as well as the Ninja Turtles in Time reshelled
How is
remastered
the
version
360 still functioning?
because it's amazing.
Perseverance.
Do you want to know how many Xbox 360s?
Here we go. He's gonna poke the bear. He's gonna
No.
poke the bear,
No,
ladies and
no,
gentlemen. Watch
I'm
it.
just-
And then he
like, I'm
pokes the
amazed.
bear right now.
I'm not criticizing. It's just a genuine thing. Like, I'm amazed because do you want to know how many Xbox 360s I went through because of Red Rings of Death?
No, I don't.
8.
what's a red
Okay.
wing?
Okay,
Like, you got
so,
bad luck.
Bobby, Red Ring of Death was a problem that was facing the 360 the first like 2 years of its life. Those models came
more
out.
than 2 years.
First, like,
It was-
4.5 to 5 years of
until the like slim model, all the elite
Yeah.
model came out.
and it was basically
Which was about 2
break
years,
your
maybe
console,
3.
Essentially, it would just you would power it on, and instead of it being the green circle that would light up, it would just turn red, and only 3 of the 4 chunks would be lit up, and you couldn't do anything with it. You couldn't hard reset it. It was just your console was literally a paperweight.
Problem with it was that the glue for a particular chip that was inside would get old and would melt too quickly if it got too hot after a while, and you had to basically reapply the glue. And if you didn't know how to do that, then you didn't know how to fix your console.
Yeah, so I had to
The-
send my
the-
Xbox
the 360
to Xbox
right, so
repairs 8 times.
To be fair, Christian, they had the Red Ring of Death, and Sony PlayStation had the yellow light of death, or whatever the
They
heck. that
did,
was.
which I lost.
And it was
one
the exact same. It was the
Yeah.
exact
Yeah.
same problem on that.
it
system.
wasn't as bad as Xbox. though.
I lost one PlayStation 3 in 10 years. And
Right,
8
and-
Xbox 360s in 5 years.
But for every Christian that was out there, there is a me, and I lost maybe one system. One system? Yeah, one system that was actually given to me by Andrew and I's brother Isaac. It was the first Xbox I ever had, and the other ones have been totally fine since then. So, anyways,
Sorry for the detour. Sorry
Back
for
to
the detour.
Scott
yeah.
Pilgrim.
fine. Back
right,
to
so-
Scott Pilgrim and
Yeah.
why I'm never getting rid of my 360. It had all of these games that have been pulled from the library ever since then, and if you get rid of that, they're gone. So,
But
I'm
now
never
you
gonna-
can get rid of your 360.
now you can't. No,
So real quick, so
Pilgrim versus the World,
I'm just
the
gonna
game.
wrap up my thought.
all
in
the
like,
DLC.
I'm gonna wrap up my thought in like a minute and a half, real quick. But the reason that this was a huge big news for me, before it only came out digitally. I know that a lot of us here in the group
True.
know about this, but I'm sure some people from the audience too might know about this. But limited run games, they do physical printing for digital only games.
Are they doing a limited run of this for the
Yep,
Switch?
They-
in 4
yes.
days.
Shut up!
Yeah,
dude.
They are doing 3 different editions.
Oh,
And it's
I
the
am
first time it will come to a Nintendo system.
Yes.
True.
So the first time it's coming to Nintendo, the first time it's going to get a physical release. So those 2 things both got me really excited because I've been following that company specifically, hoping one day they would either re-release or something would happen with Scott Pilgrim. Secondly, very much like the Strokes, I got into playing bass because of Scott Pilgrim movie.
That's
I got
cool.
into
Nice. There you
I
go.
got into like wanting to know how to, start to play like a little bit more about like drums and stuff like that. Like this was a huge movie for me. It was a really
Yeah.
big comic book for me, and likewise, it was a huge game for me. So it was
To be clear here, this is not like a remaster of it of any kind,
no,
or
just
an
a re-release.
HD re-release. It is just the full game with all DLC being re-released and finally coming to a Nintendo system.
And finally having a physical release.
Physical printing, yeah.
Well,
Which,
because of
like-
limited run games, which is in my mind not
Well, but the
true
thing is,
physical release,
the cool thing with limited run though is they're gonna have like their special edition, right? But then they're gonna have like their for 2 or maybe 3 months, you're gonna be able to buy this, pre-order this game, and they will fulfill as many orders that come through.
So if you pre-order it, you're guaranteed to get it, and then after that, however much margin there is in their inventory after that, then it's gone.
No. There's no margin after that. If you want to get it, it's going to be
You have to order it the day of, or like you have to order it from them directly. Otherwise, you're getting a resale on
They
eBay.
said they're doing a 3-week window, so you got.
Is it 3 weeks?
days.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's not even a month. Okay.
Yeah. So
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not like the pre-orders are open for a certain window, and then once that window is closed and
Then
the inventory is all done, then
Yes, it is.
Only for Nintendo, or are they doing the other systems?
Doing PS4 and Xbox One, which limited run usually doesn't do Xbox.
They don't do Xbox. That's
no,
great.
they don't. It's normally only Nintendo and PlayStation, and surprisingly, they did a few years ago the Vita. So
That's
it's
kind of a big deal. All right.
They're gonna do Xbox,
and the digital will be available on all Xbox,
Yes.
Nintendo,
Yes.
PlayStation. Even
But
if you
if
don't
you-
want the physical, you can still get the digital.
Yeah,
Yep.
but if you want to get the physical in 4 days from now, the pre-orders start.
on
For
Friday.
3 weeks. You have a 3-week window in 4 days.
And
So
it'll
for those
probably
people
cost
who
an
are
extra
listening
$20 to
tomorrow,
$30.
that is the 14th.
I feel
January
like out of any game though to get physically, this is like the one you need to get because of the history of what has happened to this game.
Yep.
I mean, maybe. I can still load it up on my 360 and play it just fine.
No, I'm definitely with Andrew. Andrew gets me. I've been waiting for this moment for
I
so
get
many
it. I
years.
get it.
I'm
I
ready.
get it. I'm not with you necessarily all
Dan,
the way.
think of it
I
this way.
will be getting
Dan,
the
think of it
Switch
this way.
release.
It's like if they only had a limited window of HD Blu-ray copies of the Snyder Cut.
Yeah,
Yeah, I get it.
but
Sure,
I'm
you
gonna
can watch Joss Whedon's Justice League
Nope,
on your
no,
DVD
thanks.
player.
No, you can watch the Snyder Cut digitally, but this is the only chance to get it
I
physically.
want to have it in my library. I get it. I get it, guys. I get it.
Right.
Moving on.
Bobby, we've got,
All
what time is it? Yeah, we got like 30
We got
minutes here.
time to burn through these next
We
couple
got
of
time.
minutes.
I'll be fast. We had a
Hey.
whole podcast. Luke Skywalker showing up at the end of Mandalorian season 2.
Yes, we did.
I cried. I went into
A
shock.
powerful moment.
I could not speak.
He was like, I can't believe Dan was right. I can't
No,
believe Dan
I
was
can't
right.
believe
I'm
that.
kidding. I'm kidding.
No,
But
that
I'm kidding.
the powers that be at Disney and Lucasfilm had the guts to have Luke Skywalker show up and say that's Luke Skywalker and he's now part of the universe and he's there. It's not just, and actually mention it, one of the main Star Wars characters. So we dedicated a whole podcast to it. And I just want to know, anyone who's listening, comment in the comments, did you cry when you saw Luke Skywalker? I just want to know that. And any of the guys, I wanted to ask that, did anyone cry when they saw Luke Skywalker during any of that scene?
Negative.
If it was Sebastian Stan, maybe.
It was Bucky Barnes, and everyone's saying they want Bucky Barnes to play. And I thought it was too. I was watching. I was just trying to watch. I mean, again, going into it blind, I'm just watching. Like, is that Sebastian Stan? Is that a different actor? Are they doing the aging on Mark Hamill? I had no idea what was going on, but I was still buying it. I'm like,
Yeah,
what?
dude, that's great. I love that story. That's such a great story.
So
Yeah. I did not cry, Bobby, because the whole time I was
Because Dan
going,
doesn't have a soul.
oh, no, I definitely do have a soul.
We established earlier that you don't, though.
A dark soul. No, I hate those games, by the way, because I suck at Dark Souls. Anyways, we're like sidetracking ADD crazy right now, but no, I didn't cry, and I didn't cry because I was so over the moon feeling vindicated about how much I actually understand Star Wars in that moment that I was overjoyed. I was overjoyed at having called that out and actually being right about Star Wars. Imagine that.
All right, Daniel, go on to your Snyder Cut.
Do we have anywhere on record him not saying like, "Oh, it's not going to be Luke Skywalker," and us doubting him on any of our podcasts?
None of us ever doubted him. We just gave our own predictions.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm going to have to go back to that. I just want to hear.
The only one that I
Check-
disagreed with him on the Boba Fett thing. That's the one we disagreed
Check
on.
the record. Check the record. Anyway,
I want to check the record. So
yeah, go for it. Go for
we're
it.
going to have to. Anyway, so
mine pretty simple. We've dedicated a lot of time talking to it on the show already. But the very first episode that launched this whole show was about this, and that is my number one favorite surprise, which was the announcement that the Zack Snyder Cut is a real thing and is actually going to be released.
Is that May 20th official, or is that still just a leaked date?
May 20th, 2020 was the day that it was officially
Oh,
announced
I'm
by
blind.
Zack
Never
Snyder.
mind. I thought that's a 2021. I was thinking that was the day that it.
2021 is they haven't officially announced a date for it, but
It's rumored for what, March or May, right?
March. They're saying
I
March.
heard March.
Okay.
HBO Max, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, HBO Max. So I have had so many.
We've talked
ridiculous-
probably 20 to 25 hours on this podcast about Snyder Cut.
So-
Moving on.
but not just this podcast. But the reason why, Christian, this was the biggest one for me.
I know, Dan. We've talked about it. I'm well aware. This is a huge one for you. I know.
It's because of the amount of years of dealing with people telling me I'm crazy, telling me it's never going to happen, telling me that would just cost way too much for them to go back and blah, 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 blah.
Did we have a
You need-
conversation like that last
yada,
week?
yada, yada. Move on. Just move on. Right? The whole deal.
I will say, I was a doubter originally. I will fully admit that. But had I known that not only were they going to just let him do his original vision, they were just going to let him completely rechange whatever he wanted after hearing all of the negative feedback, I would have believed it a lot more.
Yeah. And that's the thing that makes me the most excited, because I feel like hindsight 2020, he's got a lot of research and perspective. And
I don't know. For me, I feel like it kind of invalidates the entire purpose of it to me.
The purpose of his show?
Because the entire purpose of it was he has this version of the movie that we didn't get to see.
Right.
And
that
now
version was never
that version
even
we're
allowed.
still not going to get to see
No,
because
but
he's
here's-
making a completely different version. So for
Christian,
me, it invalidates the
make
entire
me-
movement.
Don't make me get on my
Let's
soapbox
move
here,
on
dude.
because
Yeah,
we
we're
can
moving on.
talk about this.
I
Let's
will-
move on. Let's move on,
Yeah.
friends.
For clarifying sake, I will say this, Christian. His initial vision for this entire thing was never even allowed to be shot. That's the real deal. And thus they tried to prepare for the movie they were going to release, which we're never going to see either. We're going to see this, which hopefully is some sort of better hybrid of all of that. So
Yeah, better than
Andrew,
stuff.
you were going to say
Oh, I was
something.
just gonna say I've never even seen Justice League, so I have no
The
skin in this game.
Justice League.
Dan, are you going to go back
Justice.
and watch the
Atrocious.
Justice League right before you watch Snyder Cut so you can fully see the,
Dude. Why
or are you just going to?
That's like saying, are you going to kick yourself in the nuts before you go watch, go play basketball or whatever? Like, no, why would I do
I'm
that?
just curious if you're going to go for a comparison, like to really see the
I
difference.
will watch Zack Snyder's Justice League first and then go back and see how much of Justice League I am willing to tolerate afterwards,
Got it. Okay. All right.
which I'm almost positive would be maybe the first 30 seconds and then I'd be done, because the way that movie opens with like mustache Superman and like the whole CG, like it's so terrible.
Yeah,
Like,
it is.
There's nothing good about it.
Like close up on the camera. Like,
So bad. The first time I watched that with Haley, my wife, she instinctively, I didn't say anything about the
Move
movie.
on.
I haven't said anything. And she goes, what's wrong with his face? I'm like, yeah, okay. Moving on. Moving on. Andrew,
Yes, Pokemon Snap!
the
I'm
heck is
so excited.
What is Pokemon Snap?
I was going to do
your
this
big
one.
thing is the announcement of Pokemon Snap.
Wait, so Christian, you were going to choose this one?
I was going to choose this, but then I saw that you had it, and I was like,
baby,
I was like, no, I'm just leaving it alone.
All right,
I played the original one so much.
The original Pokemon Snap came out on the Nintendo 64.
Mm-hmm.
And for years, Nintendo fanboys like me have been begging for another updated new Pokemon Snap.
Why?
Because it was amazing.
It was the first one was amazing.
Okay, Dan or Bobby, do you have any idea what Pokemon Snap is about?
Wasn't it like you were on a safari and you took?
You're walking
pictures?
around snapping pictures of Pokemon. It's Pokemon Go on the Nintendo.
No, you're not just taking pictures.
But that's how I.
Yes.
Okay, this is my time to talk. I'm going to talk.
Go for it. Go for it. I'm listening. I'm not saying go for it. I want to listen more about what you. I want to hear about it.
So, first, we're going to start with the Nintendo 64. It was the one. Part of it is it was the one video game that I could get my older sister Valerie to play with me, which was a big deal because she was not into video games at all. But it's not.
It isn't, I don't think.
It's not just taking pictures of Pokemon. It's like you're an on-rail. It's kind of like an on-rail shooter.
You're not selling this, dude. You're not.
No, hold on. You are on a rail, right? But you can open up new paths by different ways of like throwing an apple.
Yeah, there was interactable moments.
It was interactable. So like
you could do to like take better pictures or open new paths.
Yeah. So you do the path and you're done with it. And you're like, okay, is that it? And you're like, no, there's F ton more of stuff you can find in this game. Like the amount of discovery was endless, and there was like no internet back then.
Yeah.
So it was just so fun to like figure out how to unlock the new level, how to get the new thing, like all of that stuff.
And it didn't even have a real strategy guide either.
No, it didn't. So
wasn't this one where it had like a peripheral where you could plug in your Game Boy game into the cart and
no. You could go to the store and you could take your memory card, plug it into this kiosk, and print off pictures of your Pokemon.
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, which was super cool.
Stadium was the one where you could take the ones from your Game Boy.
Yeah, you could take your Game Boy, yes.
Right? Yeah,
so anyway, for years, people have been asking for a new Pokemon Snap.
Yes, sir.
And this, in 2020, I could not believe it. There was a Nintendo Direct, or it was a Pokemon Direct, and I was just like, I'm not really into Pokemon, whatever. But I was listening to Spawn Wave Media, and he talked about Pokemon Snap, and I was like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? They're actually releasing one? And then I was like, I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. So I went and watched the video on YouTube of it releasing it. And I remember my kids were in the room with me, and I just freaked out because I was just like, I cannot believe that they're releasing a new Pokemon Snap. And so I am so excited when the new Pokemon Snap comes out. It is going to be.
I would have expected them to remaster it. Like I never thought they'd make a new one.
It's going to be.
Is it going to be like an IO? Is it going to be like on a phone so you can?
It's going to be on the Switch.
It's going to be on the Switch for sure. Yeah. Maybe they'll have like some
not like Go. It's not gonna be like Pokemon Go where you can it's on your phone and you can go to different places and take pictures. No, but you can already do that in Pokemon Go.
Hey, Andrew.
Right.
Real quick, were you also one of the? Because I definitely was. Were you one of the? Because you were a Wii U owner, sadly, like I was as well. And did you wait the entire lifespan as well? Waiting for these Pokemon Snap because it just seems so perfect for it with the gyroscope and the tablet.
The Wii U hardware was perfect for a Pokemon Snap game. And it should have happened because you had a separate screen with a gyro and it had a screen on it that you could have pointed and aimed and all of that. And like, it's still going to be cool on the Switch, but like the Wii U would have been perfect. For a Pokemon Snap game. Mm-hmm. Daniel will never understand. You're gonna get it for Lily, and she's gonna freaking love it.
Yeah,
I I completely forgot this was even a thing. That's how much
Dude,
I
it
care
is.
about this.
So good. It is so
Do
good.
me a favor.
Completely forgot it was a thing.
Do me a favor. Go to YouTube and pull up some clips of Pokemon Snap and just look at it and see how it.
But
I
also with
will,
Pokemon
I will
Snap.
do that quickly while we move
Okay,
on.
but one more thing with Pokemon Snap, and then I'm done.
Oh my gosh.
Also in Pokemon Snap, you take like 40, 50 pictures in this, on rail section, and then you have to pick your favorite photo of each Pokemon.
Sounds like
So-
the most boring game I have.
No,
ever-
it is so fun. It is so fun.
This does not sound fun at all.
You get a high
You get to
score
take a
depending on how
picture?
good of a picture.
But
yeah,
you get to
depending on
take
how
a-
good of a picture you
But
pick.
depending
you get a
upon
better
how
score.
good of a picture you pick,
Who's
Dr.
determining
Oak,
how good the picture is?
Dr. Oak depends. He's the one that chooses.
Doctor Who? What?
Are you kidding me? You don't know who Dr. Oak is?
Professor Oak.
I understand who
Get
Dr.
out.
Oak is, but
Get out.
you're saying Oak depends?
Dr. Oak.
Professor Oak.
Yes.
Professor Oak.
That's Professor
Alright.
for you, Andrew.
Dr. Oak.
Got it. I hear you. We're on the same page now, finally.
He probably has a doctorate.
I haven't played a
He's a
Pokemon game
professor,
since
so
Pokemon
he's a
Gold.
I get it, dude. I
To be
get it.
honest.
I'm just saying, why? Oh my gosh,
Dude, it's
You're
gonna
going
be
out. You're going out to collect evidence of these Pokemon in their natural habitat.
it's gonna be so good.
And if you literally, you can throw apples to make different things happen. You can
Yes.
feed Pokemon to make them turn
Yes.
into their evolutions, or you can
It's
fantastic.
so good.
It's a lot.
And then and like knowing that the Nintendo 64 one is like a hidden gem, and then knowing that they've got all of this technology to be able to make this new game, like I am beyond excited to see what the game is going to be.
It's going to be so good.
This
So it's either going to be so good or it's going to be a massive
Or it's
disappointment.
just going to suck. Yeah.
this sounds like the most boring game I have.
Dude,
I
I'm
really
telling
get
you.
it, dude.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
Okay, so the regular, here it is. So here's like the regular Pokemon games. At least there, you're throwing something at them to capture them and make them fight each other. But here, you're just taking pictures.
Yeah. Lily is going to love this game.
Oh yeah, she's going to eat it up.
You're not-
I'm telling you.
Wait, you're on rail. It is an on-rail shooter here.
It's
is
basically an
not
on-rail
like
shooter.
Shooter and a camera. Oh boy! So you're on a cart that is wandering around an island, and you're taking pictures of Pokemon as you
Yeah,
pass
you have
by
a flute, you have apples, you have all these different things that you can use to interact with the Pokemon around you to try to get them to do different
It
things.
is so good. It is so good.
What?
I'm going to send you a copy.
I
of
don't
the mail.
understand why this is. You're gonna send me a copy in the mail. Please don't waste your money.
No.
Okay. All right.
Dude.
Hey, to each their own. To each their own.
It's
I'll
So
play
good.
it on.
Okay.
I'll have to get a copy and play it on the Nintendo Wii. So
Apparently.
So good.
Interesting choice. I didn't even know that.
I'm
When
so
was that
excited.
announced, Drew? When was that announced?
I don't know when, but
I think it was June, I think.
it was this summer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
or
I
last
didn't even
summer.
know it was being re-released. I
Well,
had forgotten it was released, let alone re-released. So that's
Rude.
right.
You just are
Christian,
woke, so
Yeah. Another one that we talked about.
I'm not woke.
on-
I'm not woke
This is another one that we
Pokemon.
talked
That's
about
fine.
in depth
okay
in
with
our
that.
Star Wars episode. For me,
True.
my biggest good
True.
surprise was the announcement of Hayden Christensen reprising his role as Anakin Skywalker / Darth Vader for the Obi-Wan Kenobi
Mhm.
TV series on Disney Plus, which I am beyond over the moon for. For me, that's the equivalent of Luke Skywalker showing up in The Mandalorian.
sure. Yeah.
The first time
Yeah,
I
for
see him back on that screen is going to be that equivalent for me, and it's going to be fantastic.
That's cool.
I heard some fun
Okay.
rumors about how Anakin's going to
Oh,
interact.
I'm
with
so
Obi-Wan,
excited!
so-
I'm so excited.
Very cool.
It's going to be great.
We spent like 2 whole episodes, or at least 1 whole episode.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we can go on. So
Yeah, that's it.
we got 3 more categories
Reddit.
to get through, right?
3 to get through, dude. We got 20 minutes. You're killing me, Smalls.
We'll go fast.
All right.
We'll go fast. We talked about
Video
talked
games
about
of
video games
2020. We
today.
talked a lot about these already. So mine's
I
gonna
was
surprise a lot of
really
people.
surprised by this. Very surprised.
Yeah, Dan.
I
gotta hear
put
this one.
Animal Crossing. Welcome to Animal Crossing: New Horizons.
That's big in 2020.
Alberto, ask me now that you have food in your mouth. How many minutes of Animal Crossing I have actually played?
Are you talking you or Haley and Lily?
Me.
Yeah.
How many minutes have I personally played of Animal Crossing?
How many
do you
minutes
think?
have you personally?
I'm curious. I'm curious. How many minutes do you guys think I have played Animal Crossing?
I think you personally 15, but I think you got all the excitement watching, your two most loved ones. at
I'm
home.
saying 0 minutes. I'm saying you have not touched the game yourself.
I say 15 just to help set it up for a little.
Yeah, I don't think you
That's
played
about
it at all. But
I'll
you've
guess 60
enjoyed
solid
watching
minutes.
Haley and Lily play it.
Yeah.
Bobby, what was your guess?
60 solid minutes. 60 minutes in total.
I have not played a single minute.
I knew
of
it.
Animal Crossing New Horizons. Here's why I am excited about Animal Crossing and why I put it up as my favorite video game released. Because you guys you pretty much said it already, but I'm not necessarily watching them play Animal Crossing. I've got other stuff that I'm doing when they are doing that.
Is
And
it because it made them leave you alone?
no, God, that's kind of rude. Wow. No,
Sometimes when you're a dad,
here's
and
the
Andrew,
thing.
please say that. When sometimes just getting your children to get their own things, sometimes it's good to have give them their own things.
It's
to give
very
them
true.
space.
That is
So,
very, very true,
love all the
Bobby.
time that you spend with them, but sometimes you need them to just take a couple minutes so you can have your own time.
Very true.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily what's going on here, but I mean, there are moments where that's probably the case. But I just love the fact that I was able to find a video game, which is in general a hobby that I really enjoy. And it's something that Lily kind of enjoys sometimes with me. And my wife, love her to pieces. She never has time for anything like this. And she never finds anything like this that really connects with her on any way. With the exception of years ago, she got into Viva Pinata randomly on the 360. Definitely heard but I realized, okay, so I took a risk for Christmas and decided to sell a ton of stuff I had here in the man cave. I purged 4 different systems along with several different libraries of games.
Don't tell us what they are. Actually, I don't know what they are.
I can't. There's a Wii U, a Wii, another Wii, a 360, and a PSP. 5 systems. Sold them all. Sold a ton of games and accessories to go with them. And I bought Haley her own Switch and this game. And that was a huge risk on my part because she saw that I got a Switch for my birthday back in October and was like, well, where's my game? What am I going to get to play? What's the big game for me? And she was kind of joking and kind of not. And I was like, yeah, I'm tired of being a dick who's taking all the video games. So let me try and do my best to find something that hopefully she'll enjoy. And she's really enjoying it. Like she's probably upstairs playing it right now as we're talking. And it's something that she's enjoying to do. Her job is extremely stressful. She works in medicine, and this past year has been extremely stressful for everybody working in medicine. And she said after the first week, like after Christmas, she's like, thank you so much. This is a wonderful gift. I didn't ask for it, but it has been a real gift to be able to go to something to just unwind and relax and find something positive and productive. Because the game is very like task oriented, very production based. Like it fits the way that she thinks, like very like task oriented, job oriented, goal oriented, like all of that stuff that fits her personality so well. And it's just very relaxing for her. And I'd heard all of those things about the game and was like, okay, well, roll the dice. Let's see if this works. And she's loving it. And Lily's loving sitting down with her and doing it together as like a mom and daughter kind of thing. And so for me, it is my favorite game of the year because I get to enjoy them enjoying it. which is something like enjoy them enjoying something around a hobby
great.
that I love.
Love
Like
it.
I've never really had that opportunity to observe that from the outside, and I love it. So that's why I picked that choice. So
The funny thing is Animal Crossing literally is doing a job.
it is. Oh yeah, it's
I
just
don't
life.
understand
Just
how
life in a
people,
video
like,
game.
like after a whole day of working,
Right.
they're like, I want to go do a job. Like,
Right. But it's funny because Haley was actually telling me just the other day. She's like, this thing is like, it's like it was made for my brain.
that's awesome.
Because
Man.
I'm like
So great.
constantly finding myself thinking about, oh, I could do this, and then I could go there, and I could get this. and then I
Wasn't
could
it
get
like the
and-
big video game release right when COVID was hitting?
Yeah,
Yes,
It
it came out
literally-
right when like quarantine was hitting. That and Doom Eternal came out on the
Yeah.
same day, and I was all like,
they both came out on
"Ooh,
Valentine's Day.
What was that, Christian?
I think they both came out on Valentine's Day, didn't they?
Was it Valentine's Day? It might have been.
I
Valentine's
think
Day.
it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the
Um,
perfect pandemic.
Honestly, that game could not have released at a better time.
Yeah.
For sure. So yeah. So that was my choice. That was a really long explanation. I apologize, but
No worries.
It was a great explanation. That was a
Yeah,
great story.
well worth it.
Christian.
For me, another one. Sorry, Andrew, that I
You
hijacked
could
from
probably
you.
both pick this one. That's a good point. I didn't even look
Which
ahead.
we can actually just tag team on this one a little bit.
Yeah,
then.
yeah, that's fine.
We talked about it briefly in the video gaming episode, Last of Us Part 2, which is a controversial one, I know, for a lot of people. I went
Without
back and
spoilers because some of us haven't watched.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go into spoilers. I went back and forth between this one or Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Okay.
And ultimately, what made me decide this one was just the amount of content in it. Spider-Man Miles Morales was a very short game. It was basically a DLC, essentially. But I still greatly enjoyed it. And Last of Us Part 2 is just a very engaging game and a very tense game. It's a game that literally, and I'm sure Andrew can attest to this too, the soundtrack in this game does such a good job at just making you paranoid. Every second of this game, you'll be creeping around.
Yeah.
And like you'll hear like something sounding like somebody's creeping up and you'll like spin around. There's nothing there. But it's
the
just
sound design.
it's the
this thing-
the
very
ambient.
good.
It's so good.
So you need like a good Dolby surround Atmos.
I was even just using just basic like
earbuds.
phone head earbuds, and it was fantastic.
They did a great job optimizing the sound design, and you can select what kind of audio output device you have, and it will still optimize it for you. And
That's
it's-
super smart for them to do that.
yeah, it's great. It's honestly great.
That's like that extra step that developers.
And this game also, we talked about it briefly in the gaming episode as well, had like 500 different accessibility options.
Yeah.
They had like
heard about
colorblind.
that.
They had like colorblind modes, different sound modes, different like control schemes you could set up. All
That's
for
cool.
literally over 500 different accessibility options you could all customize. It was
And on top of that, I went through the whole game on just like normal difficulty, and now I'm going on like the hardest difficulty. And first off, I just am loving playing it through the hardest difficulty because it's just so like, okay, I need to get this right or it is game over kind of a thing.
can't waste any materials.
Right. Like, and it forces you to play the game differently because you have such a limited amount of resources. Like, I've got 3 bullets in this pistol, 1 shot in the shotgun, and like less than a quarter tank of my flamethrower, and that is it. And I need to save the flamethrower for when I come across like
Like a bloater or something.
like a bloater, to be
Yeah.
able to take care of that guy. So, but I also just discovered in playing through it that there is modifiers that you can buy. The first time I played through it, I didn't even know that was a thing.
They only exist in the hardest playthrough.
Oh, I didn't.
They don't
Okay,
exist-
that's
they
the
don't
reason
exist-
why.
Yeah, they don't
Okay.
exist in the regular difficulty.
Yeah, so you can buy modifiers that like make it even harder. Like every time you die, it mirrors the screen. So like every time it's on the right side, now everything's on the left side, and
Yeah.
so it's like harder.
Basically,
to
like
do
basically
things.
kind of like the old like Crash Bandicoot cheat codes and stuff
Right.
like that. Like
Um,
you make it upside down, mirrored.
Yep,
like, yeah,
all that stuff. You can do
stuff.
8-bit music. You can do like like if you loved like the world of 90s cheat codes, you will love The Last of Us Part 2 because there is all of that you can unlock, and it really like motivates you to keep playing the game. And of course, this is my game as well, so
Yeah.
I've said enough. It is fantastic.
So
It is
good.
So
Very
good.
Anyone remember the Game Genie?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
You
Heck
gotta
yes, I do.
you gotta connect the extra part into the cartridge, blow it, alcohol swap, put it in the alcohol, put it in the Nintendo and the NES, and then have your little cheat
My
code.
favorite was always the Game Shark books.
Mm,
Go to Barnes and Noble
Gentlemen.
and get
good
the.
stuff.
Right here.
There it is.
Oh yeah.
Genie for the Sega Genesis,
There you go.
aka Mega Drive. That's the one.
Nice.
All right, Alberto.
Legit.
Alberto, yeah.
All
Alberto, here we go. We all saw this one coming.
Yeah, this one I've been trying to find.
You've been talking about this for weeks.
I have
It's
been.
so funny. This particular choice, Alberto, every episode, even if it doesn't have anything to do with video games, whatever we're talking about, there's a last minute name drop of greatest game of 2020. Like,
Yeah.
go for it.
Okay, so this one, like Dan said, I've been hinting it forever. I pitched the whole retrospective 2020 idea just so I can have a minute to even talk about this game. Just 100% for this game.
I totally believe that.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 was easily my second most anticipated game of the year. My most anticipated was Last of Us Part 2, but the one I went back and replayed a lot was definitely Pro Skater 1 and 2.
Even
Don't
after
know.
5 was such a disaster, you were like
Yes.
excited about this coming out?
I was excited because of the studio working behind it. It was Vicarious Visions, the one that made the remastered Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So with them,
you weren't at
making it-
least a little nervous about like, they might
no,
screw
because
these up?
Vicarious Vision also back in the day they used to port all of the handheld Tony Hawk games onto Game Boy Advance and Game Boy,
Yeah,
and
Which are actually really good.
yeah, which were really good isometric
Advance?
games.
Really?
It was really
Yeah,
good.
they were great.
They did a great job making the game fit in an isometric kind of setting. I'm not gonna lie, it definitely doesn't overtake the console's original, but
No, but it made it
Yeah.
a great experience for people who had a Game Boy Advance.
yeah. So that's why I wasn't nervous. And on top of that, I'm gonna show you real quick this. But prior to this game basically was already Tony Hawk's 1 and 2, like remastered.
Original Xbox release of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2.
Yeah, that one was already kind of a remastered, and for the longest time, that was my only way to play 1 and 2 remastered, and it felt weird playing it with a Duke controller.
Yeah.
So finally, once they announced this in like early 2020, and then they just kind of just dropped it, I couldn't be more excited to be able to play this again with the PlayStation controller in 4K with new skaters, old skaters, new soundtrack, old soundtrack. It's the best of both worlds, honestly. It was.
Can you still unlock
really
Spider-Man?
No, no, unfortunately
dude.
not.
All the like unlocking stuff of like the guest characters were not in there, which I was really bummed to find
Yeah,
out.
I'd be surprised with how huge the MCU is that you could unlock Spider-Man anymore.
Spider-Man or Jango Fett was in 3. Darth Maul was in 3.
Darth Maul was
Yeah.
in 3. Yeah.
Darth
Which
Maul
one was
was-
in 4? Was that
I
Jango
thought-
Fett was in 4?
Yeah,
so, yeah.
before he was.
Yeah.
But yes, PlayStation controller all the way for playing Tony Hawk.
Yes, Daniel, PlayStation controller all the freaking way when it comes to playing this game.
You got to get that precision.
I'm telling you. But anyway, though, but yeah. So this was easily my favorite game to play. I love the fact that like they are introducing a lot of brand new skaters into this game. I think it could be the start of something really, really great. I don't know if the next series, if and when they'll make one, will it be a 3 and 4 remaster? Will it be a
I'd love
Underground remaster? I don't know, nor do I kind of care as long as it's this good. The series hasn't been this good, honestly, probably since like Tony Hawk's Underground 2 and the PlayStation 2. That was
not even that. Those were okay, but 1, 2, 3, and 4 are like
like for me,
that was it for me.
4 was my favorite of the original, but I can't revisit Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 on PlayStation 1 with no manual, no reverts. frame rate of like
It's tough.
8 a second. Like it's
I
really
can see
really tough.
that's true.
Revert. I love that in Tony Hawk 1 and 2 they allowed revert to be a thing.
Yes,
Yeah,
that was another
because
thing.
Tony Hawk
They
3
incorporated that in, yeah.
introduced revert, which was a game changer. And
What is revert for?
Going, dude, over and over and over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is revert basically just like a quick reset? Is that what
once you go up on, like if you're like doing tricks and then you hit a ramp,
Mhm.
you can hit, I think, R1,
R2 or L2.
R2 or L2. You'll do a 180 and you can continue your trick,
Mhm.
which was
Yeah.
not in Tony Hawk 1 and 2.
So like Tony Hawk, like it was pretty much like do a few tricks in a row, like maybe 3 or 5 tricks, and that's it. That was your whole combo. Adding that revert lets you link up more and more tricks. Before you know it, you can make up to like 100, 200
Yeah.
tricks all in a row if you wanted
It's
to.
awesome.
So
It's so
it made
great.
you replay the original levels with a whole different mindset, and it played as fluently as like the PS2 era. So it was
I'll say this: when I jumped into the remaster and popped in the first one, and found out that I could do reverts and could do manuals to keep my combos going over and over and over and over, I was like, oh, this breathes like
Yeah,
new life into this entire game.
heck yeah. Heck
it's
yeah.
so good. That's a great
But-
choice, Alberto.
But there you go. After 3 months of leading up to this, Tony Hawk
Now we know why.
That's a great
Pro
choice.
Skater. Runner up would be Mafia though. But
All right, we already talked about it. Last of
Andrew,
Us
we
Part
already.
2.
Last of Us Part 2.
It's
Okay.
amazing. Play the first one, Daniel, and then play the second one.
Leave
So-
a comment in the video if you think I should do a live stream of my first playthrough of The Last of Us 1.
Or
and
just shame him for not having played it. Either one.
or you could just shame me for not having played it. And here's my violin, singing a song.
All right, Bobby, go ahead.
I am not a big gamer like you guys, so I had to pick something from the Apple Arcade that I subscribed to. So I picked Grindstone. It was released in 2019. It's like a think of whatchamacallit, Candy Crush meets slashing
Match three.
monsters. It was just released into the it was just released on the Nintendo Switch,
Okay.
which you can download, and it's just addicting. I've already deleted, deleted, and re-uploaded the game several times because it's so
There
addicting.
you go. There you
Which is just fun to play. So if you're looking for just some mind-numbing puzzle gaming, Grindstone for Apple iOS or Nintendo Switch is what I would recommend.
Sweet.
Nice.
Very cool.
I would say we can probably have enough time to get through the tech one. We can probably skip the TV show
Tech
one.
Okay. Yeah, the last topic was our favorite TV shows, but we kind of hit some of that with streaming.
Yeah.
wait, did you guys cover movies too?
No.
Oh, movies. I thought was the last one.
Yeah, we did movies. Did we do movies?
No, we haven't
No, we
touched
didn't do
movies
movies.
or
We didn't
TV.
do movies or TV. God, see, that's what I said. We're just
We could go a little late.
We
Yeah,
can
let's run through. Just yeah,
Keep
quick
moving.
one.
All right. So for
All
me, tech and toys that I got this year or was having fun playing with, that I was really proud of and helped me out, was my what is that? Nintendo table. The Nintendo Entertainment Table that I put together. That thing's been just hilariously fun to work with and was a lot of fun building. So
That's cool.
My
Andrew,
favorite new toy I got this year was my PS5. Easy choice.
Alberto,
and,
what's that?
he will not be providing his address for anybody who
No.
wants to. No. He's one of the lucky people who got that window. We talked about that. Was it last week or 2 weeks
Yeah.
ago?
I managed to
You were like
catch.
a 30-second window.
Yeah, it was a very short Amazon pre-order window, and I was extremely nervous that Amazon would not fulfill it, but I managed to get it, thankfully. So.
And
Lucky stuff.
and FedEx didn't steal it.
No, they did not steal it, thankfully. So I would have Liam Neeson'd them. So
We'll find you.
Alberto, what's this?
And I will give you-
So mine, during Black Friday, there was a lot of guitar pedals that were on sale. I bought a small handful of them, a compressor pedal and a reverb pedal, but the one that I was most excited about was this Walrus Audio pedal. For people not into like guitar and modulation effects, this is a chorus vibrato pedal. Essentially, what it does, you plug in your guitar, and it can make it sound a little bit like the Smiths. It can make it sound a little bit like bedroom pop music. But all in all, it's kind of like a 2-in-1 stomp box. I really love the quality of Walrus audio pedals. They're usually highly regarded alongside with JHS, another really respected manufacturer in the guitar pedal world. This one, there's a lot of my most recent artists that I've been getting into, it being like Chan, Covet, Her, and the list can just go on. But to finally be able to replicate just like that bedroom pop, kind of really wavy, really experimental modulated effect on the guitar, I've been messing with this one the absolute most. Earlier in the episode, I mentioned music composition has been something I've been diving into. I've been finding any excuse. This is like my Tony Hawk of guitar pedals now. I'm just trying to find an excuse to put every song that I will jam to, every song I write now. It's so much fun.
Cool.
Cool. Very cool. Andrew.
Yeah,
Whoa.
I feel like I'm trumping
jealous of this
everybody
one.
in this one.
Oh,
We need to hear the
when
story
we
on this
visit
one.
your
You all need
house-
to hear the story on this one. So,
So
for
it's
those of you
actually
who aren't
not
watching,
even. Yeah.
if you're not watching, tell them what this is, Andrew.
All right. So it is a Time Crisis 2 official arcade cabinet. Like
The whole cabinet is the picture we're looking at with him standing next to it, and it's in his garage.
and
Dude, me
like,
and my dad dropped so much money on this game at arcades growing up.
it's like
Oh
a
my
foot and a half taller than me.
Right.
So it's,
Oh.
it's like a solid 5 feet tall.
It's the two-player
beast.
version. It's the two-player version. So I'm always on Facebook, like Marketplace, looking at stuff. And I saw on Facebook
Trying to get them
Marketplace
deals.
this Time Crisis, and they wanted $400 for it. And at the time, I was like, "Oh, I can do 200." But I was living in a different house, and I had no room for this. So I was like, "I don't know how this is even going to work out." But eventually, I was like,
Right. What does the wife say? That is the real question.
Hopefully, she's not watching. Anyway, the whole thing happened. And then we were selling our house, and we had to pay $1,600 to get our well filled.
Ooh.
So I was like, I'm sorry, I'm out. I can't do it. We got to spend $1,600 to get our well filled to be able to sell our house. And they were like, you know what? We want it gone. So if you can come pick it up, it's yours. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Right? I mean,
That is
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. The funny thing is
it's
it's
story.
the funny thing is it's still at my friend's house in Farmington, Minnesota, where I picked it up. He happened to live less than a mile away from picking up this thing.
Nice.
Wow.
So I still have to figure out getting a truck, going and picking it up, and getting it to my garage where there's room for it. And it's going to need some work.
Yeah, I
because-
feel like I remember you talking about it, saying
Yeah.
it needed some maintenance.
What is it that it needs to get worked on?
So the left gun works, the right gun doesn't work right now. And as you can see, this it's the red gun is with the blue screen, the blue gun is with the red screen. That needs to be swapped.
a little wonky. Yeah.
But dude, like this thing is a freaking beast. It's probably like 300, 200 pounds.
Is it one of the ones with the foot pedals too?
It has foot pedals. Yeah.
Does
Yeah,
it,
it's like-
do the screens work?
The screens both work, but the right screen, I probably have to send the chip in. Like I did a ton of research on this. There's a company that will like repair this stuff. So I'll have to send the chip in because there's a graphics card and then there's like there's a polygon graphics card and then there's like just a 2D graphics card. The 2D graphics card is working fine, but the polygon card isn't working. So
Okay, gotcha.
anyway, it's a crazy story. I never thought in a million years that I would have an official Time Crisis 2 arcade cabinet, but apparently I do.
Lo and behold.
Yeah.
And there it is. No,
Or your
you're-
friend does at least, because possession.
But yeah, currently my friend owns it.
It's on loan.
Possession, yes, Your Honor. Possession is 9/10 of the law.
And
He's
you didn't even
right
purchase
in my
it, so
garage.
you have actually no legal right to it.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Don't give him any
He
ideas.
gave it to me.
But he does not want it. He wants it gone. So
I believe it. I believe it. I believe it. Bobby,
My MacBook Pro from 2010 finally collapsed on me in January, and I wanted the full version of Excel. So I thought I was always under the impression once you go Mac, you never go back. I went and bought a Microsoft Surface Pro 7 at Costco in January.
Wow.
Those are really solid machines, though. I'm not gonna lie.
So
that-
I'm on it right now. This is what I'm broadcasting.
You liking it?
It is a solid piece of machinery. I've
Awesome.
had very few blue screens of deaths. I take it for work. It's for personal use. I am designing on it. There's expansions on it. There's a lot you can do. So I'm very happy with the Surface Pro 7, and I'm glad they had a Super Bowl commercial about it.
That's awesome. I am excited because I'm trying to convince my boss to get me one for work. So
It's solid, and the pen it's a great feature to have. I used the pen a couple times, and yeah,
that's the whole reason. That's one of the whole reasons I want it. Like every
the pen
every
is
cell
on
phone I
that-
have has to have a stylus now, and I feel like tablet computer wise would be the exact same way for me. I use it all the time.
The Apple Pencil is 1,000 times better than the Microsoft stylus, but it's still still solid. I mean, just comparison wise, I think Apple's got it down for designing for their pencil, but the Microsoft stylus pen that you can buy, it's solid.
Awesome.
And I got it from Costco. So,
Is that a Black Friday deal for you or what?
No, it was Costco. It was just Costco. It was
Cool.
January. Yeah, and I got it with the most RAM I could get in it. So, because in case I needed to do some fancier stuff along the way. So,
That's
Cool, man.
awesome.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Do we want to dive into movies and TV or save it?
I do. Let's quick. Let's
let's just speed through them. Yeah,
All right.
a quick 5-minute
Let's
rapid
put
fire.
timer.
Christian, I'll share with you
We
because I
each get
probably
like
picked the
we
same thing.
each get like 60 seconds.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
Okay,
2020
Birds of
favorite
Prey.
movies. Andrew.
Dude, okay, so I randomly woke up at 3 a.m. and I couldn't sleep. And I was like, I'm going to go downstairs and I'm going to watch some movies. And so I have HBO Max, or no, it's Vudu through Daniel. And I was like, okay, I've never seen Suicide Squad. So I watched Suicide Squad. I was like, it was okay. It wasn't, it was okay, you know? And then I was like, I guess I'll watch, the next thing after that, which I thought it was like continuance, but it's a totally different thing. It has nothing to do with Suicide Squad. And it is fantastic. Birds of Prey. I'm so glad that they chose to make it an R-rated movie because it made it so much more entertaining that they could say whatever they wanted to say.
Yes.
The level of violence that they needed to do, that they could do. Ewan McGregor is amazing in the movie.
So good.
I have
He's
seen
amazing in a lot of things.
but the thing is, I've never seen him as a villain,
Yeah.
and he was the best villain I have ever seen.
yeah.
You hate him so much.
That's true.
This movie,
You
I
hate
think,
him so
suffered
much.
from a lot of the same things that the Solo movie did,
Yes.
which is bad marketing
Yeah.
and people just hating on it before it came out for no
Birds
reason.
of Prey is so good. Go watch it, Bobby.
Oh,
Go.
Bobby.
Onward. That right before the pandemic, it was hitting theaters, and it wasn't getting enough money. So Disney said, "Let's put it on Disney Plus." So Onward, starting Tom Holland and Chris Pratt.
It's fantastic.
Yes,
So
I
good.
think
I
it's
haven't seen it, and it looks like it'd be right up my alley because I love
It
It is
You would love it, yeah.
fun Dungeons and Dragons.
They're Dungeons and Dragons.
Is it,
Yep.
is it
Star
still
Wars.
on? Is it still on Disney Plus?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
on there. It's a
That'll be on the list
Yes.
for
It's
family movie
on
night
it.
soon.
I recommend it. Family fun movie, great Pixar movie. Go watch it.
Very
Yeah,
funny. Very
That is
funny.
also my
Um,
movie as well, so I'm just going to say ditto everything Bobby said.
There we go. All right.
Don't give
for
anything
me-
away about Tenet.
I'm not giving anything away. I'm just
All right.
saying Tenet, absolutely best movie of the year, without question. You guys know me. I dive deep into all kinds of ideas and theories and all that just kind of crazy stuff that is probably way more attention than any movie is ever supposed to be given. This movie, you're definitely supposed to be giving it that kind of attention because Christopher Nolan is a friggin' genius, and putting this whole concept together in a way that he did and pulling it off was just
Do you think it's his best movie yet?
yeah.
Okay.
without a doubt. If you like the complexity of a lot of his movies that aren't related to comic books, like Memento and Interstellar and Inception, all of that, like it's that kind of like weighty, heady thinking through exactly what all of this like.
Yeah.
But I'll love him to pieces. Some of those movies have components at it that are like, I don't know that it really completely works just because it's so complicated.
Yeah.
This, you can tell they went through meticulously to make sure it all fits. And I cannot get enough of this movie. So
I still need to see it as well.
Laurel and I, my wife and I, started watching it, but it was like we were already tired. And I was like,
you can't be tired going
watch
into
this movie when you're tired, because I've only watched half of it and I still don't know what's going on. And we're planning on watching it tomorrow night. But don't watch it when you're tired, because it's such an in-depth movie.
It is. Definitely make sure you're paying attention. When
Or
you
can
watch
you
it.
stream? Do you have to buy it digitally, or can you stream it?
No,
somewhere?
It's on Redbox right now.
It's out physically now. It's out digitally. Go see it. It's fantastic. So, and Alberto,
no spoilers.
finally saw this one. I watched this one.
I haven't seen it yet either.
Yeah,
spoilers.
no
Spoilers. I have not sat down to watch.
I won't give any spoilers. I'll just say another Disney Pixar one. This is the one I was most excited for. I was gonna put Birds of Prey. Saw Andrew put it on, so I'm just glad that he gave it some love. But Soul, for me, I know it just barely came out just a few weeks ago. On surface level, at first you might start thinking you know where the direction of the story is going to go. Maybe you think it's just another Inside Out kind of thing. It asks a lot of really deep questions. It starts to dive a little more into larger themes than what originally you think, especially based off of the commercials. And most importantly, I think for people like Christian and my age, and especially just like everyone here, like just participating, this is a question that like just hits everybody, especially once you hit age 20, I feel like. So the conversations that they have, the questions that they have, I think it's great to have it when you're in your 20s, when you're in your 30s, in your 40s. But no matter what, this, I don't know, from the absolute level of detail that they have of every single piano note being hit properly, the exact same note from the original composition, from to all the different like cultures and kind of like ideologies that they also share. Start to dive deep. Great movie. Definitely watch it. Won't say
planning on watching
it. Movie
on the dot.
Yeah,
there's substantially more deeper themes going on here than I was expecting from a Pixar movie. So,
same.
And they've done a lot of deep stuff too. So, all right, TV shows. Last category for me, definitely the Harley Quinn animated series. Go watch it.
I'll have to check it out.
It's fun.
It's right up there, Andrew, with Birds of Prey as far as it like definitely going with an adult hard R kind of component. They could not do justice to any of this story even remotely if it wasn't
totally
intense. So go watch it. Christian.
Mandalorian was really one of the only shows that I actually I made a priority to actually sit down and watch this year. There was a ton of other shows I wanted to watch. Really, one of the only ones I actually made it a priority to, which shows how good it was.
Cool.
For me, was Great Pretender. It's an original anime, so it's a really short one. There's just basically only 2 seasons and only roughly about 20 episodes, 20-minute every episodes. But if you're a fan of like Ocean's 11 and the whole trilogy, it's basically a anime about con artists on surface level. Cool. But the actual themes that they start to tackle, they basically make 4 different arcs, so it almost feels like an Ocean's 11 thing. Every arc is a different heist, and every single heist though does start to dive deeper into every single character. So it gives every character a moment to shine. It gives every character a reason to be there, and it gives you a reason to love each and every single one of them, episode 1 to the very end.
And where can you watch The Great Pretender?
Great Pretender is on Netflix, so you can watch all of them. They just added the last 9 episodes maybe 3 weeks ago, I think, 4 weeks ago. So
is it subtitled or is it dubbed?
It is both. You can watch it however you want. No spoiler. Episode 1, they have voice actors with really, really strong accents at first. In the middle of the first episode, they then put a little disclaimer, and whatever language that you're listening to, it gives a disclaimer saying we are now going to switch to English, to make it easier for you to understand. And then after that, it's just fluent English, and they do it as a joke. They do it as a joke, I think, on purpose, because they know that that's the first question, Bobby. I think a lot of people ask shows coming out of Japan: is it dubbed or is it subbed? So for the first 10 minutes, they kind of throw you off. That they're like, is it going to be just strong accents like the entire time like this? I can't understand. They just did a whole.
They work with that and make a joke out of it. That's cool.
And then after that, it's just fluent English. You understand the whole thing. But honestly, if you're a fan of anything heist related, it's a great comedy drama, and I highly, highly recommend people to watch it because it's an original. You don't have to worry about getting lost in mangas or stuff.
Great pretender. Cool. Andrew, I'm shocked that you threw this one up there because it's so old.
It's so old.
It definitely fits because you discovered it in 2020.
I mean, it's not that I discovered it. I knew about it for a long time.
What is it?
No, like you discovered.
Yeah.
So when I say discovered, I mean you fell down the rabbit hole that is Breaking Bad.
It was a deep rabbit.
Yes, it is,
dude. Okay. So I had never, other than like 1 or 2 episodes, when I was at a friend's house and watching it, and I was like, I have no idea what's going on. This turtle has a the guy's head on top of it. Like, what is going on? Like. So I was like, okay, I'm going to give it a shot. It was literally, okay, we're going to be bunkering down. It's going to be, shelter in place here in Minnesota. I'm going to give Breaking Bad a shot. And I am
I remember you texted me.
Glad. I am so glad.
You texted me when you started watching it. Yeah. And I think you were about finished with the first season. And my response was, all right, I'll talk to you in about 4 weeks.
And it was way less than 4 weeks before you.
Way less. You called me back and you shoot me a text going, I can't believe you fill in the blank. I'm like, how did you get that far already?
Dude, I remember
that's like 3 seasons ahead.
The whole thing is like over 60 hours, and I think I watched it in like 2.5 weeks.
Yes, dude.
I was neglecting my children's homework. They were doing at-home school, and I was like in the room with them, and they were like doing their school, and I was like had my own computer, and I like had no idea what they were doing because I was watching Breaking Bad. It was not good. It was.
I definitely understand Andrew's obsession and just rabbit hole fall because I fell into HBO added Sopranos.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know how many episodes there are into Sopranos?
You gotta just you gotta keep going. You gotta know.
I did 1 season in I think maybe a day and a half, and then I was just before I know it, my sister and I are watching the final episode, and we go, "Did we just finish this whole thing? Already in the beginning of quarantine?"
Dude,
yeah.
There was one day.
Oh yeah, we did.
The whole day I watched, I think 8 episodes. It was just, and I'm not going to give anything away other than anyone who has watched it. What was the moment where you were like, I am not cheering for Walter White anymore? Like,
there could be so many moments.
There's got to be so many moments.
Yeah. There could be so many, dude. Crazy. But the best description of Breaking Bad is to have Mr. Rogers become and morph into Scarface.
Yeah,
that's basically the show right there.
And it's a direct sequel to Malcolm in the Middle for people that don't know that.
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
That is not canon.
But it's a fun joke. It's a fun joke.
It is a hilarious joke.
Yeah.
In an episode.
I will say though that I haven't watched all of the TV shows, like the major. I've never watched Game of Thrones. I've never watched a lot of the big shows. But in the research that I've done, so many people agree with me that Breaking Bad is one of the best TV shows that has come out in the past 20 years.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
It is just
incredible. And can I just point out the hilarious irony of this screen we're looking at right now with Andrew picking Breaking Bad and then Bobby's choice, which I love too because it's a great show, the remake and the reboot of
The
DuckTales.
reboot of DuckTales. Yes.
Hilarious.
So it is. Well, I'm disappointed that they're going to end with season 3.
Are they? They're only 3 seasons in, and they're ending it already.
They're ending it.
That's disappointing.
But
I thought they were doing a whole like Darkwing Duck and like
they
the
are
whole
doing
deal, right?
Darkwing Duck.
Are they?
Really? Really?
They're
Officially starting it off.
Oh, I am
So,
in.
the great thing
know,
about
count me in.
DuckTales, the
Gentlemen, I don't
best-
mean to interrupt you, but I am going to get out of here. I gotta
gotta
get
bounce.
to bed.
You
Sounds
go.
You guys have a good night.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
I'll finish up my thought. So,
Go for it.
DuckTales, I think it's just the reboot is just so much better than the original show. It has
Really?
canonical. There's one-offs. There's a whole. It's interconnective. There's gentle nods to the original show. It has great actors. You have David Tennant, Doctor Who, as Scrooge McDuck. You have Abed Nabir, which is the character from Community. I'm forgetting his name. Danny Pudi as Huey.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Anyway, you have great voice actors, great casting, you have great writing, people who truly love and care, and people say, when you have a children's show that adults can love as well, I think it's an awesome show.
Yep.
And I'd rather have a show end while it's hot and then it just kind of going off. So I want it to end it good on. I hope it ends well. It's going to end season 3, and then you're going to have DuckTales spinoff, and it kind of answered some of the other questions that happened. Why did Launchpad leave Scrooge McDuck for Darkwing Duck? It answers that question.
That's really
in an entertaining, fun way. So
Cool.
DuckTales, great for every age. I recommend it. And
I'll check it out.
another bedtime song for my son.
Disney
There
Plus.
you go.
Disney.
Disney Plus.
First 2 seasons are on Disney Plus. Season 3 is still on Disney XD, and they have to wrap up the rest of Disney.
All right.
Yeah, but you can watch the full episode of the Darkwing Duck soft spinoff on YouTube.
Sweet. Dude, Darkwing Duck was my favorite as a kid, so I'm
Yeah, so
excited.
you're
about
gonna love it.
Very cool.
They do him a solid, and it's great how they slowly introduce him throughout the series, and then
Cool.
make him a full-fledged character in season 3.
Love
Very
it.
cool. And that's our show. I know Christian had
Me.
to bounce. We went a little over this week, but
That's all right. We need
It was
to-
worth it.
It was
it was a heck of a year. So
Yes, sir.
cool. Have a great night, you guys. Thanks so much for sticking up with us this late, and we'll catch you on the next show.
Bye, guys.
Have a good
Bye.
night.